Thermaltake Genesis Ultimate V5 is your ticket to playing the hottest PC games right now. This gaming PC has been handcrafted for pure performance, giving players the power of a GeForce RTX 5060 graphics card, 16GB of DDR4 RAM, and an AMD Ryzen 5600 CPU. All powered by Thermaltake's very own Smart BX3 650-watt power supply. A ready-to-go gamer's dream built inside our popular Versa H16 case. Go the extra mile and plan your upgrades on the Thermaltake LCGS website. Your first victory is just a button press away.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the beautiful Misano. The sun's out, the track's hot, and the only thing louder than the engines tonight will be our commentary. We've got a multi-class showdown, the blistering quick Porsche Cup cars sharing the circuit with the nimble, low downforce GT4s. 45 minutes of flat-out racing where overtakes can happen anywhere, and sometimes in places they really shouldn't. A big thanks to our sponsor Thermaltake, keeping things cooler than an ORR's race's DMs after a lap 1 incident. I'm Dan Madden. Joining me in the booth tonight are the voices of reason and chaos and everything in between, Matt Madden and Dave Stevenson. Gentlemen, are you ready for this?
Oh, mate, it is good to hear your voice in the commentary box tonight. Welcome to you in particular for your Thursday night commentary debut, joining Dave and I tonight. Mate, it might be freezing outside, but I'm warmed up and ready to go for another great night of multi-class racing. How's things on your end, Davo?
Talk about multi-class racing. We've got multi-class commentary right now. I feel like I'm down racing the GT4s where you lads are up in the Porsche Cup Series, so I think I might needing to up my game a little bit. But lads, no, absolute pleasure to be in the box tonight with you guys again. Looking at some awesome racing tonight, and again, yeah, 45 minutes of absolute chaos and fun at a sunny Misano, as Dan said. I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, last week we had some pretty damn good racing, particularly, it was quite clean actually through both classes. We saw Benny Ventnor really lay down the law in that GT4 class. Are we expecting the same from him again after his win at Bathurst last night, or do we think that there'll be someone new charging through in the GT4s, boys?
I'm really expecting the Gianetta to be pretty strong here. I think with such a long back straight, Mr. Zach Jensen's probably trying to put himself right up the front. I know his qualifying pace hasn't been that great, and he's been driving the way through the field, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing that a little bit further up the field today. Danzo, I'm not sure if you've watched too many rounds. I know it's only 3 rounds into our series, but Dan, what are you thinking with the GT4s as you see them on track right now?
Look, it's a personal opinion here, Dave, but I think the GT4s, I don't know if it's going to come too much down to the car here. I think you've just got to drive it on the limit through sectors 1, sectors 2, and just block every car out and park the car on the apex through sector 3 and pray that Gianetta's not going to get a run on you.
Do we think that's leveraging your tactic from last weekend in the duos, mate? For those who haven't seen it, go back and have a watch of the Octane Online Racing Duos series, or the Cup, where Dan actually paired up with one of the fastest drivers in the OOR regime or league. It's Chris Cooley, aka known to many of us as Dink Donk. Dan, you partnered up with Dink Donk and had a hell of a race between the two of you. He stuck you, I think, 12 or 13 seconds out in front. Now, for those that don't know the man in the booth with us tonight, Dan is an academy driver, so races every week with Dave and I, and we'll be heading to Sprint Series next season, so not lacking for pace. But it certainly is a tough ask when you put yourself out in front of all those insanely fast sprint drivers in the duo series. Do you think that defense has got you riled a bit up tonight, Dan? You defended like an absolute lion last weekend.
Look, mate, I honestly think I'm still sweating from that experience, having 5 OR drivers just bearing down on me. The direct command from Dink Donk was, look, mate, I've put you 13 seconds in front, you're in the car, please don't bottle this. I don't know how I was meant to not bottle it. Yeah, it was an awesome experience, but mate, just so keen to see the races go around tonight, as we've got Benny Ventnor currently in first place in that Audi. Yeah, I'm just really excited tonight, lads.
Yeah, Ricciuti only 0.03 behind him as well. We've seen some really tight qualifying, particularly in the middle of the pack, but I think this is our tightest contested lead off the bat.
Yeah, I think the top three are very, very close at the moment. I'm thinking Blake and Marshall and Baker are trying to get a little bit closer to the top as well, with some more laps coming on board with only 2 minutes to go. Whether or not they can get out and do another lap, but yeah, watching I actually didn't get a chance to participate in that duo series, and listening to the commentary team, they were definitely all behind you, Danzo, trying to get you to race a little harder with those names. But I'm sure you can see some of those familiar names tonight, and I think you might be either a little bit of PTSD or actually going, well, you know what, I actually raced with these guys for a long period there and actually did pretty well. So no, it was absolutely fantastic to watch, and yeah, well done, mate. That was a really good race.
Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate it, man.
So for those that do know the regular sort of rules for Thursday nights, we've got a multi-class race, but shortly after the race, courtesy of our amazing sponsor Thermaltake, we'll actually be giving away a Thermaltake gaming mouse. It's the Thermaltake TT esports gaming Argent 5, M5 wireless and wired RGB gaming mouse. A little bit of everything for everyone, so tune in after the stream as well just to watch that big old wheel spin around. Everyone that races in this multi-class event and the sprint series will be eligible to go in the draw to win it. So stick around and find out who wins that later on. We're giving away one every week.
I will always say this every single week: if you want double entries, sprint drivers, because I know some of you might be watching tonight. If you're not participating in this GT4 field, double entries if you actually participate in our Thursday night early GT4 Porsche Cup series. So there's still 2 rounds to go after this one, and I can see maybe a new name with Busk there in P4. I haven't seen that name before. So thank you for coming on board our series. And yeah, guys, don't miss out and getting those entries in. Also, we'll be going through our thermal overtake of the night, and actually Thermaltake put a little video package together. So guys, get on board with this as well, because I think it's a really great initiative that Thermaltake's helping us out at OOR, putting an awesome video package together. So if you've got any clips that yellow and green last night, I knew there was plenty of overtakes in the rain there at Bathurst. Make sure you get them in our Discord so we can put a little video package together as well. But Dan, as our GT4 qualifying ends, I want to exclude Lucas Keys, whether or not he starts from the back again. Who are you looking for in the Porsche Cup? I'm not sure if you're familiar with some names, or if you've got your eyes on someone. Who you're looking to kind of put a good lap together in the Porsche Cup?
That is an absolute excellent question. I think it has to be Johnson. He's always taking the race to Lucas Keys there. He's happy to get the car on the inside, and he's happy to tow him around, make Lucas do the work. And I wasn't the other week in South Africa. It was just awesome to watch, man. Someone actually take it to Lucas for a good 15-20 minutes and just sticking the car down the middle. You've got to overtake me, and I'm not going to make a mistake. And it just makes awesome racing.
Yeah, it was Donington Park last week, where I think Johnson led for, let's call it 38 minutes of a 45-minute race. It was so close to the end there. But I think Rashudi's just trying to finish off a lap here, and if he's actually valid, it's going to go P1 by over 3/10. Trying to get through this last turn. Don't go invalid. Yes, there it is. Does it cross the line? Just P2 by 300.
Done it.
Done. Oh, here he is, Rashudi, with a huge lap to finish the GT4s. I want to go back and see if that was before or after the 8-minute mark, but
he probably just took his first breath in about 1:40, I reckon, there as well. He'd be certainly tense coming around that.
I'm sure these stewards will be looking at that, because that was very close to the 7-minute mark or the 6-minute mark in the overall qualifying time. So as the Porsche Cup cars are now going to start putting their laps in, I was watching last season's GT3 stream from last year with Gobi and Gormley, and they were actually saying about the track limits here. I know we had a race here a couple of seasons ago, but the way you race Misano is very aggressive. Sometimes you got to take some extra liberty on some track limits to be really fast, and if you're not maximising the circuit here, you're missing out on those last few tenths. What were your experiences here, Matty, in your last GT3 race?
Yeah, look, it was a long time ago now, and I don't think I've watched quite as much motorsporting in my life as you have. And so I think you've got the basis of knowledge on this, whereas I came to Misano relatively unfamiliar with the track. So, and it was also pretty early on in the time that I was sort of driving and learning the sim racing as a whole. So for me, I can promise you that I wasn't attacking the track in the way that I should have been. But there's a heap of width here. And watching a couple of track guides earlier tonight, just sort of getting my head back around, okay, I remember going through here. I remember, trying to pick up a bit of time through here. Just watch how wide these Porsche Cup cars are able to run and stay valid. It's absolutely immense just how much of an apex you can take and how much of the runoff you can use before and after the corner. Look at this as we see Johnson go sailing out around the outside, but maintaining that valid lap. So there's a lot of room out here, but I know that you boys are particularly fond of this. Dave and Dan, question for you both, I suppose. What makes you love Misano? Is it more of, have you got that GT Superbike background, or is it just years of watching GT racing here, or perhaps driving yourself?
Mate, I fell in love with this place watching MotoGP. So it's obviously named after the late Marco Simoncelli. So yeah, I've been grew up watching all forms of motor racing, but watching the great battles with Rossi and Stoner here. I think it's been an absolute awesome MotoGP circuit for many a year. And watching the top speed of those things come down this back straight where Thermaltake is right now and leaning the bike over at over 300 kilometers an hour is like just absolutely incredible to watch. But I've never seen too many GT3 races around here, or even a Porsche Cup race. But I can definitely see that with these guys flinging them around the corners, it's going to be an absolute awesome race to watch. And with the amount of overtaking that we might see tonight, I think it's going to be a great race. In chat, do we love Misano or do we hate it? I'm definitely in the love column, just with the amount of racing that can come on board. But Danzo, what are your thoughts?
Look, my background on this track is only through ACC, but I just love it. It's such a flat course with no cams to the corners. You just have to run the car on the edge all for that entire minute and a half, and you're just trying to tiptoe it around, and if you slide the corners, it's just costing you huge lap time. As we see Pete Johnson go fastest, putting a 1:36.1 down. Matt, have you got any guesses on who's going to put this car on pole?
Oh, I want Johnson to do it. I want Paddy Johnson to do it so badly, and I want him to stay in the damn lead this time. Last time it was so close, he held off Keys for so long after Keys tried another last to first challenge in the Porsche Cup cars. I would really love to see Paddy Johnson maintain here. I don't know if anyone else quite has the pace to get him, to be honest with you. We've got Thermaltake's quick, McDowell also shows some pace here as well, but I really think that Patrick Johnson's just going to drive away from the field here.
Yeah, with only 7 Porsche Cup cars tonight, I think the Lucas Keys last to first challenge is going to be a little easier than he's had it before. But I know the lads are going to be out there trying to make sure they make it as hard as possible and race as hard as possible. But talking about this track again, that hairpin right there we just saw is you want to make sure you hit the second last turn and this last turn as fast as you can. So it's sometimes about sacrificing a little bit of mid corner speed to get onto the gas a little bit harder and try and set that little bit faster lap, as we see McDowell come up to P3 and Lucas Keys just testing out the legs and going invalid at the last corner. But Damiano here in the Bulgogi Seoul is a Singaporean restaurant. Talking to him a little bit earlier tonight, and he actually sent me a link to the actual restaurant there in Singapore, and they actually use a flamethrower to cook some of their dishes. So guys, if you want to have a bit of an experience in cooking some food, or even just go and have a look at it, get Damiano to send you the link to the restaurant. I know some of his family members actually own it in Singapore, or have got an ownership stake in it, and it was so funny just chatting to him for 5 minutes about it. And he threw the link up. He goes, "Hey, check this out, Dave," and it was absolutely wild way to cook a meal.
How good's that? It's. I guess if you got that pyromaniac in you, you got to find some way to get the flames out. If you open your own restaurant, maybe that's how you get access to the flamethrowers. We've got 15 seconds left in this qualifying now, so everyone is out there on their last lap. We're watching Thermaltake here. He's a 10th behind. Bartoletti is dead level with a fair amount of track to go.
Surely with the last name Bartoletti, we've got to be fast at Misano.
And speaking of Italian tracks, boys, I missed it on Tuesday night, but you, Dave, you drove in the Academy Series races. We watched Murphy have a hell of a drift around the hairpin there. Dave, how was it driving at Imola during the week? Give us a brief update in the sort of next minute or so. Tell us about the race, mate. I know Dan and I couldn't be there, but what did we miss?
You guys were greatly missed on Tuesday night, but our Academy race Split B was a little lighter in numbers. But everyone knows exactly what Misano is famous for, is the big chicane at the top of the hill, jumping those curves. And me and my little McLaren were trying to do our very best. We decided to start from the back and try and do a little bit of a Lucas Keys, try and pass as many people as possible. And yeah, that wasn't quite as successful as I wanted it to be. They had a couple of crashes, but still had a great race and just learnt so much. And I think that's exactly what the Academy Series is for. So, if you are ever interested in, a bit of sim racing and doing those things, getting on board with the Academy Series is a great way to do that. So, yeah, shout outs to all the guys and girls that are on board with that. But hey, qualifying's over, just like that. We've got Johnston, Thurkalini, McDowell in the lead of our Porsche Cup Series. Raschuti, Vintner, and Jensen. So we've got some heavy hitters at the front row on the front sections of both of our fields tonight. Dan, I want your prediction on the GT4 race. Who are you taking tonight, mate?
It's going to be a hard one to pick the top three. I like Vintia to put the car up in that top two. But I'll be honest, mate, I've got a little soft spot. Evan Marsh, I think tonight just might be his night. He likes the flat tracks. He likes just putting the boot into that Porsche car and just getting it around the track. And we're coming down here looking at some of the beautiful liveries on these Porsche Cup cars. I know Matt's favourite was the We Care Bears car, but that's not in there tonight. You got another favourite, Matt?
Yeah, well, so McDowell's matte black and orange Porsche just went past, but I'm actually quite liking this baby pink livery. My teammate and I in the duo series, Mr. Jacob Foster, we actually ran a sort of, I would say, salmon-y baby pink style BMW. So I'm recently coming out. There's a little bit of pink in all of us. I think it actually looks quite nice. But down here, yeah, we're missing the We Bear Bears car of McDowell. Sorry, no, it's not McDowell. It's going to kill me. Yeah, Graham Hill. But we've got Benny Vintner on the right-hand side there, and that actually really damn good-looking Audi. Zach Jensen in his classic light blue Ginetta. Hell of a car. And then we've got our favourite from the commentary box, Blake, loving and rocking that Brat Summer car.
Surely that's Blake's best qualifying in the GT4s this season.
I think so, actually. She's done a great job there. But here we are with the Brat Summer car in the middle of winter. And then we've got, actually, here you go. Dan, if I had to pick a second favourite livery of mine, it's the Porsche GT4 on the right there. That tessellation, the lime green wheels, it's just brilliant. And that's Marshy as well. So we really hope that Marshy picks up and does a hell of a good job this week. We'd love to see it. It'd be great.
Look, if you're asking me, I would have loved a bit of Italian flair from someone. Maybe their favourite source of protein in their rigatoni on the roof of their car. Just something different. I don't know if Lucas could have included that on his 500 fruit bowls car there, sitting at the back. That car, I don't know about you, Matty, but it's just ready to munch up some GT4s on lap one and just dive bomb down the inside. Do you think we're going to see anything else but that, Dave?
That is exactly the poll we need in chat. We need favourite pasta in chat. But are you a spaghetti man? Are you a penne? But my favourite and a classic is the casareccia. I'm lucky enough to have an Italian wife, and I have put on a lot of weight since being married to her for coming on 10 years now. But I'm very blessed that I get to experience a lot of different Italian foods. But my favourite is definitely the casareccia. Lads, what are your favourites?
Well, I've just learnt about a new type of pasta that I'm going to go and eat. Yeah, look, I think I've always actually naturally led towards a risotto in the last couple of years. I really do like that. I think it adds a nice little flair to dishes and isn't so carb heavy, which makes me just want to fall asleep immediately after dinner. But if I had to choose a close second, it's just the classic fettuccine, mate. That and a ragu, I'm sorted.
Risotto's just a fake risotto. Just make it risotto,
basically.
But no, but lads, I'm super excited to have both of you in the booth tonight and looking for an awesome race. I know this race goes so fast, so if anyone's in chat and we miss anything, I know we're got 3 people and 6 eyes looking at the times, but if there's anything that we miss over the next 45 minutes, give us a yell out in chat. Yeah, again, shout out to YouTube chat. And mate, I reckon my pick for GT4s tonight, I am going Zach Jensen. As I said before, I'm looking for the Gianetta to come home real strong.
Charger, we love it. And race control there, I've just noticed a message coming through about hot wet rice. If you're going to sit here and abuse my risotto, or risotto for that matter, I think we're going to have to have some words later, Benny, there on the cameras as we come around about halfway through our formation lap now. I'll tell you what, I'm a big fan of the way that Misano sets up, purely because it's got a couple of straights where you can just have a rest, have a breather, take 5, or maybe not 5, maybe more like 5 to 10 seconds, but it's just enough to allow you to fiddle with things like your pit strategy and get set up for the rest of the race or the rest of the lap. It really wears me down when you drive on those really tight, twisty tracks where you actually don't get to have any kind of reprieve between turns. So it's actually quite a nice little track set up here. I really quite like the way that this all looks for us tonight as we start to come around the hairpin towards the end there. This is the one that, Dave, you were talking about. Really, you have to set up a lot of speed coming into turns 15 and 16 as we go onto the main straight through Curva Misano as we set up now. Looking towards our race start. 45-minute race tonight, no pit stops, multi-class chaos as usual, a few less cars, but I reckon we'll have some pretty tight racing, courtesy of the fact that we've got some really super quick drivers, particularly at the front of that GT4 pack. We're going to pay attention, looking at the red lights up there. We're waiting for them to go green as we see Thurkalini and Johnson just arming up, ready for the race start. They're going green, green, green. 44 minutes, 57 seconds to go. We're going to come hard into that T1 and T3 chicanery sort of long complex here. We've got Johnson pulling away there at the start. In the GT4s, we've got Vintner tucking in behind Raschuti there. Raschuti holding the lead. Lucas Keys already starting to look surging up in the 500 Fruit Bowls car. Patrick Johnson's going to look to try and make as much of a lead here as possible. The aim is to try and put that pace on the track and pull away from everyone so that by the time Lucas Keys gets through everyone, he has a little bit of breathing room. Everyone forming a nice little train here, a nice procession, just utilising all of that track space as we watch Benny Vintner hard on the tail there of Raschuti. What are you guys seeing here on the track?
Just saw Blake get the elbows out and go straight into P3 past Zach Jensen, so I'm absolutely loving that start. Hopefully Blake can hold on to this and get the rhythm going, but I think Zach's going to throw it up the inside here. Oh, tight racing around the outside, lovely, nice and clean, and let's just see the Gianetta just stretch its legs down this massively long back straight as Lucas Keys has already gotten past 4 Porsche Cup cars and these GT4s racing down into the hairpin at the bottom of the straight.
Utilising all of that track there. Look at that. So that elbows out racing between Jensen and Blake. This could be something that we see Griffiths and Jensen going at it the entire rest of the race. It could be the case. We've got Griffiths. She's just fallen behind there, but she's staying close on the tail. You got to think that Zach Jensen's going to try and pull away here, but it seems like the AMG just has a bit of pace in the GT4. It might like this track. A little bit more room to breathe, a little bit less tight and twisty than the other tracks we've been on so far. But she's going to stay hard on the tail of Jensen there. Try and just peel under that bumper if she can.
Just love how this track just instantly provides action. How good is that? You know, we've had a few maybe processional tracks in Brands Hatch and Kyalami, but the last 2 weeks have just unleashed some awesome racing. So I think we're settling in for an absolute awesome 42 minutes to go. But again, no incidents in lap 1, so that's what I love to see. No one stuck behind, having to go do any, silly pit stops or anything like that. But I think these races is going to be really tight, and then especially looking at Thircolini and McDowell right here. They've been very close the first three rounds, so this battle's going to continue on for tonight, it looks like, as well.
We're watching Lucas Keys now pull up alongside McDowell. They're going shoulder to shoulder already. Lucas Keys jumping up 4 positions into fourth now. He's just taken over McDowell there, finding a little bit of room on the inside. Now McDowell maybe just going to poke his nose in, but he's going to stay away from that and let Lucas Keys go, perhaps.
Yeah, you can see right there the differing lines. McDowell just going out so wide he can't get the power down through the next turn, and Lucas Keys just drives away from. There's a couple extra car lengths away from him, so his eyes are firmly set on the rear wing of Thircolini right now, trying to make sure he doesn't let Patrick Johnson get too far away. But Danzo, mate, what have you seen in the first opening 5 minutes so far?
Mate, I've seen a lot. Sorry, I was just having flashback there from Lucas Keys being up my ass there in the duo series. Mate, I've seen a fair bit of racing, but I think it was McDowell just absolutely trying to melt away at Thircolini's back end there, just putting the car right behind, saying, if you make a mistake, I'm coming past. No other options. I haven't really seen too much from the GT4s, but as we see the Brat car just flying around the corner there, mate, I'm so excited. Just a clean start to this race, and just really sets up the next 40 minutes of racing.
Yeah, that was Griffiths giving the big hip and shoulder to Zach Jensen, so that's exactly what we were talking about. Just the aggression at the start was really good. As we see, Lucas Keys have a bit of a wiggle there and just lose that last little bit of drive, and I wonder if that's just going to stop him getting past at the bottom of the end or the straight here. Matty, you're going to have to tell me what the name of this last turn is down the bottom. We need to work that one out.
Absolutely.
But just Lucas Keys just have that slight little bobble and just lose the whole way down the straight. And I think that's exactly what we were talking about before, is sometimes you've got to sacrifice a little bit of corner entry to make sure you can get the power down in a straight line and just drive away from the person behind you.
Yeah, Thircolini's holding Keys off quite well here as well. He's obviously going for his class favourite 9-punt action there. Lucas Keys now taking the fastest lap. I believe that's only by 100. Just chipped Patrick Johnson there as well. And then down the bottom there, I will spare everyone watching on my terrible Italian accent, but it is Perfido Caro, that's C-A-Daro, so I believe be a bit of an accent in that, but I'm going to save myself future ridicule. Go Keys hard on the tail there of Thircolini. Just checking under spoiler, checking under that area, what's going on, see if there's a hidden text for him, looking for a key life, maybe looking for something to help him get past. Thircolini's really holding him off there quite well, but on Daniel. Maybe there's a bit of Italian. We're going to assume there's some Italian in Daniel. He's got the home brand advantage here, boys. He's holding him off.
Seeing if the Thermaltake under the wing as well on top, I love that.
How do you approach that, Dave? You've got Lucas Keys up your clack. I know he's the fast driver, but you've got like that track. Are you trying to park it on the apex? Are you just driving your own race? How do you approach that in the real racing world?
Mate, I think if someone's faster than you in pure pace, there's nothing you can do. Really, in the whole grand scheme of things, it's real world. You're going to remember there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of car under you, so it's no contact first and then pace second. So keep it on the black stuff. If they've got a lot of pace on you, they're probably going to try and make a safe pass anyway. But in sim world racing, I know the margins become a lot tighter, and we sometimes put our nose where we shouldn't, exactly like Jack Jensen is right there. And just Benny V just taking absolutely no care and going, yep, so you can stick your nose there, but I'm still going around the outside. But in the real world racing, mate, none of this type of racing really ever happens unless you're not paying for your car. So, as we see, just Thircolini just driving the car in a straight line. I think these Porsche Cup cars, really have a happy tail wag a lot, and if you can just keep those rear wheels nice and straight and driving, it is quite hard to pass. And I know Lucas Keys loves to have a little mind punt here and there, but I think he loves having a clean race as well, and has got along with these guys for such a long time. So I was watching Mr. Bipolar Bear on Twitch the other day in his duos race with JC, and I think there was 9 or 10 of them in the Discord chat with them all at the same time, and they were always just trying to make sure that they have a nice clean race as well.
It is pretty crazy watching Lucas Keys. You can never quite tell. He's a bit like a shark. You never know if he's just playing with his food or if he's actually trying to look hard for a way past here. But for what it's worth, Thircolini, Damiano holding him off really, really well here. Keys unable to find a way past just yet. But one thing that I was just watching there, it's insane watching the different ways that Lucas Keys will go into a corner. Thircolini's taken them narrow. Obviously some of those moves defensive, but otherwise actually just trying to drive the track and keep his car speed up. But Lucas Keys actually, not quite at the moment, but some of those hairpins, he's actually going out, braking really late, running wide and trying to maximise that exit speed. Got to think he knows something that we don't.
Yeah, I suppose while we're sitting here watching this incredible battle, when Lucas Keys got into third place, Johnson was only, I think, maybe just about 2 seconds up the road, and it stretched out to 4.1. So that's the positives and negatives of trying to put a little bit extra pressure on the car in front, and sometimes you get a little bit stuck. You're trying to get a run off the corner, and you're trying a whole bunch of different tactics to get past the car in front, but eventually it just is either going to boil over, and a pass is going to eventuate because of a mistake, or you're just going to keep losing time. So I think Patrick's just here just having a little bit of a smile as McDowell just runs it up, and that's another problem that Lucas Keys has to worry about, is if he opens the door a little bit too much to try and get a run on Thircolini, McDowell's going to try and take advantage of that as well.
Absolutely. Less than a second now between second, third and fourth place as we've got the procession of Thircolini, Keys and McDowell. McDowell obviously being able to catch up because Thircolini's losing quite a bit of time just trying to defend Lucas Keys here. Patrick Johnson now has a 4.5 seconds nearly lead on the rest of the pack. You've got to think, as you exactly just said, he's going to try and make as much room as possible there, pull away from the pack, and then try and worry about holding off Lucas Keys just a little bit later this evening. We're watching Lucas take some of those wider lines that I just mentioned before, but he's sitting in tight for the moment, tucked behind Thircolini. As we saw a move before, actually back in the GT4s, we saw Vintner just holding off Jensen, but there's already a 23-second gap between the last Porsche Cup car and the first GT4. We've got a 3-second gap between Vintner and Raschuti now, with Jensen and Griffiths not too far behind. Jensen right on the tail there, 0.3 seconds behind Vintner. Some close racing happening, even though we've only got a few cars on track tonight, and that is the beauty of Octane Online Racing, the Thursday night leagues. Thanks so much to everyone for joining us tonight as well.
As we see Keys finally get a bit of a run down here, and it's going to have a bit of overlap and send it up the inside of Thircolini. I wonder if he's going to try and hang around the outside, but just no grip and no possible way to drive around the outside. As we finally get back to the GT4 racing, because I know that the Porsche Cup cars have been battling for so long, and it's been such a good battle, and I wonder how far McDowell's going to get stuck into Thircolini now as well. But looking at those GT4s, that battle for P2 is heating up, but Raschuti just absolutely lightning tonight. Just over almost 4.5 seconds up the road in the GT4s. So he's doing an absolute ripper job at his home track.
For sure, and I'm wondering whether Zach Jensen, just in his desperation to find a way past Vintner, because he does look a little bit quick. We're going to see it here. He actually tries a bit of a dive up the left-hand side. They go alongside as he steers right to turn left. We're just seeing him throw everything in his car, trying to catch up to Vintner, but you got to wonder how much does it take? How hard are you going to push, and how many mistakes are you going to induce? Because in that slide alone, he's dropped back about half a second behind Vintner now, whereas he was, I think, literally up to 0.2, 0.3 behind him.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the conflict you have in your head all the time. Is am I trying to save a tyre? Am I trying to keep going forward? Actually, Benny, I wanted to have a bit of a shout out to position 14, 15 and 16 in the GT4s. We've got 3 cars all under half a second there as well. So it's another fantastic battle the whole way down the field tonight. So we've got Marshy and Busk here just going toe-to-toe in the non-cup Porsches. The lovely, let's go family-friendly budget version. And
street legal Porsches.
Yeah, exactly right. We can drive them around on the street, correct? But yeah, here it is. This is the battle I was looking for. Just 3 cars, just nose to tail, and one just goes incredibly wide, straight through.
Zach Baker, we've done the commentator's curse out of nowhere. We've gone and given him a follow, and he's just gone sailing out there. Where are you going?
Turn the stream off, Zach. Stop listening to us and concentrate on the racing.
Buy that man an Atlas.
Put him back on the tar. My goodness, as we see, he's now just dropped just over a second and a half behind Klomp there. Rick Lean now hard on the arse of Zach Baker there. Fastest lap for Lucas Keys. He's pulled a 10th off Paddy Johnson there, but there's still 3.8 seconds. It does seem like Paddy's got a bit of pace here, but I think in the last 2 laps we've had Lucas Keys catch up about a second on that now, so not long now.
Yeah, it's going to probably be about maybe 3 or 4 more laps. I'm sure that time will drastically come down. Zach Jensen again up the inside. No, that's just the wrong corner to do it in, Zachy. You've just got to have a bit of patience to send it up the inside of the next one, mate. I think got to get him into a bit more of a severe braking zone with these GT4s rather than trying to get it through the fast pace. I know the GNet is so fast in a straight line, and the closing speed's so fast, but you've actually got to pass him into a corner that's actually going to result in an overtake rather than Benny V's just happy for you to stick your nose in. You'll drive around the outside and know that he's safe for another lap.
Tell you what, Zach Jensen's had a couple of cracks at the thermal overtake of the week. Maybe he's trying to stick his nose in there, try and produce some magic, looking to take the prize again. He's already had a couple of call-ups to the Thermaltake overtake of the week. Our wonderful sponsors put together a video for us this week highlighting all of those insane overtakes as we watch McDowell almost take out the back of Thurcolini there. Gee whiz. You got to think he's pushing his braking foot almost through the pedal and into the floor, trying to stop the car so quick there. Thurcolini takes the advantage and drives away, having narrowly avoided some death.
Mate, my heart rate and blood pressure right through the roof just then. Look at that. I was like, there's no way we're going to have a 3rd and 4th take each other out. And McDowell's foot, as you said, would have been pushing that brake pedal as hard as he possibly could to get it to stop.
I know hypothetically the load cell pedals can only take up to 100% force, but I reckon he found 110 there trying to stop the damn thing. Goodness gracious.
It's scary, isn't it?
You've got some great racing going on at the moment, and I think that's exactly what we're looking for. But with the small field we have tonight, we're already past our 15 minutes into the race moment, only half an hour to go, and we still don't even have one Porsche Cup car overtaking a GT4 yet. So, I think it's a little bit of an easier race tonight so far with the Porsche Cup cars and a few less GT4s. And I think the GT4s are quite nicely spread out, except for this battle here that we have between Baker and Lean, just only 2.5 tenths away from each other.
Well done. I don't mind a battle at the rear of the pack. It's the beauty of racing, mate. It doesn't matter where you are in the field. Every battle is just as intense as the other one, and it's bloody awesome. Marshy here just holding off Bus there, sitting half a second behind him, just checking out the rear end of the Porsche, looking at my favourite tessellation livery. God, I love this thing. It looks fantastic. And so Marshy's holding there quite well, he's about 5 or almost 6 seconds now off the back of Blake Griffiths. She's holding well and sitting about 4.5 seconds off the rear end of Jensen, who is still trying to find a way past Vintner, but has dropped back a second now, probably pushing the car a little bit too hard, maybe scrubbing those tyres a bit too much as we are now, 17 minutes into the race.
Yeah, we're definitely into the dark days of the race at the moment. Yeah, you're trying to settle into that rhythm, and all the adrenaline's kind of worn off from that first opening exchange as we see all us trying to have a bit of a look and see if we can get up the inside of Marshy. Marshy very nicely just leaves him a giant gap to go up the inside, and these two are going to go side by side. Let's see if who's the bravest on the loud pedal to see if they go flat out down the back straight. But looks like Marshy might have lost out a little bit here as well.
Yeah,
trying their hardest to get him side by side, but no, Marshy has to give way.
Oh, Busker's missed the braking marker. There's no way he makes the next apex and turn. Oh, that's that track width that we were just talking about earlier this evening, Dave. the ability to run as wide as you want. Definitely pushing some track limits there, but he's going to find no time gained and push on, I suspect.
That was the Nordschleifer. He's in a wall for sure.
Yeah. Well, Bathurst last night in the rain, he's not just into the wall, he's over it. Over and out. Gone on his way to orange. It was a wonderful Thermaltake spoiler of Patrick Johnson. Just over that Thermaltake spoiler, you can see, spoiler alert, Lucas Keys pulling him in.
Mate, the puns are flying left and right. I love this tonight. But, mate, talking about Bathurst last night, a big shout-out goes to Benny V for his win in split yellow. I know there was some technical difficulties with a few minutes to go there, but the absolute beast that he was in the Aston Martin last night was absolute class to watch. So it was awesome to see him finally get a sprint win. I think it might have been his first. We'll have to get chat to verify that for us.
No, I think he's had a few before. He's been around for quite a while, has Benny Vintner, and geez, he's fast. But as he was sort of saying to us, Dave, not much beats someone, A, of his talent, and B, the Aston in the wet. He really drove that thing home, and I reckon the server switched off with a couple of minutes to go and spat the dummy, but I reckon it was almost because, as we see Lucas Keys come up on some GT4s here, I reckon it was almost because the server had said, nah, you know what, I've seen everything I need to. Benny Vincenter's got this in the bag, we'll let him go.
Yeah, shut it down early, yeah.
Down early. Danzo, we've got some cars coming up for the lap now. What are you expecting to see here as we have the battle between Lucas Keys and Patrick Johnson? But they're coming up on some more GT4s, a tight pack of, I believe that's 3 cars. What are we expecting here as we watch Patrick Johnson sail out?
I was going to say we might see Lucas Keys just wait for it, a good 5 to 10 minutes, but with Johnson just going around every corner sideways, I don't know if Lucas is going to wait and he's just going to absolutely send it up the inside. Maybe use a bit of the lap traffic to his advantage, but mate, this is shaping up to be quite a nice race for the lead. But I don't know if you've noticed, mate, I'm just seeing Rashidi power away in that Maserati, I believe it is, getting a 7.1 second gap now in the GT4s. He's done. He's like, I'm closing this race out now. This is mine. He's taking it all to him.
TC, no worries, he says in the Maserati as he goes sailing ahead. You got to think that Vintoner's losing a lot of time as Benny to the battle with Zach Jensen, who's still sitting 0.3 off his arse. My goodness, we've got some good racing up the front here tonight. We're seeing some GT4s here. We've got Johnson and Keys going up the inside. Managing to hold the line. Thankfully, it's a really wide track. We've got a lot of room that we're able to work with. Keys still sitting politely behind Johnson. There as he goes wide. A full lockup. No. We've got a full lockup and a rare Lucas Keys spin out. I didn't think I'd ever see the day.
God, it's craziness. It's just all kicked off with 24 minutes to go. The unicorn has reared its beautiful rainbow head with a Lucas Keys spin. What is going on as we see Zach Jensen get past Benny V as well at exactly the same time? It's unbelievable drama. Exactly right, Ryan. What is going on? I'm loving this. This is what we need.
Mate, I'm just going to have to check the star chart and make sure Mercury's not in retrograde because something's going on tonight. If we've seen Lucas Keys spin out, now dropping over 5 seconds back off Johnson, the race is on.
Spinning backwards. Here we go. We see Lucas Keys just lose the rear end on the way into the corner. Didn't know what to do. And just had everything locked up and almost took out the BMW on the inside at exactly the same time we saw the Gianetta give the big hip and shoulder to Benny V.
My word. Jeez, we've got some action here and a big Hobbsy hold your brakes moment. Maybe we need a new sponsor. Hobbsy's hold your brakes moment tonight goes to Lucas Keys, who just managed to stop his Porsche Cup car going into the side of a GT4 there.
I wonder what was going through Patrick Johnson's head, because he even Paddy opened up the corner to try and make sure that Lucas didn't hit him as well. So, there was some great awareness. I know he was probably driving a little bit in the rear vision mirror, but just to try and make sure that there wasn't a bigger accident. And here we go, 2 Porsche Cup cars up the inside of a GT4 in this corner again.
McDowell sitting, it's the same corner. McDowell sitting hard on the rear spoiler there of Fercolini. They just managed to get around the BMW GT4 of Klopp, who gives them just enough room, maybe some of that Italian hospitality that we've seen tonight, leaving the door a little bit open for him. Come on in and have a sit down for dinner, he says. Go right through, boys.
Where's Marshy gone as well? Marshy's gone backwards as well. I know he was up having a race with Busk as well, so that was something that we need to see is if Marshy's made a mistake or he's just let some Porsche Cup cars through at the same time and lost a lot of time as well. But back to these two, Thurkalini and McDowell. And I know, as I said before, 4th week in a row, these two have just been racing around each other. I know they race in split red as well, and they seem to just find each other, the two people, exactly the same piece of tarmac all the time.
Sure,
and
neck and neck.
We've got a replay coming up here. Marshy, it's the Johnson Keys incident.
The lock-up. Just screeching tyres as he goes sailing around him. Johnson manages to avoid. Great driving there. Marshy also managing to avoid. Losing a position there to the BMW that's just taken off in front of him. The BMW of Klomp uses that incident to try and find some room and get around.
As
the drive-through. Must have been for track limits, I imagine.
Yeah, can't imagine it would have been anything else. So he's a little bit unlucky there, giving up the position to Rick Lean. He's going to fall quite a ways behind, but there's still 21 minutes left in the race. Anything can happen, as we're already seeing multi-class racing at its finest with 16 cars. We're still seeing some shoulders out, bumping racing. We're also getting some insane lockups from Lucas Keys, the man you never thought you'd see go, but he did.
I think that's the hardest part about multi-class racing. You get so set in your rhythm and your braking markers, and all of a sudden you come up on these slower cars and you're like, oh god, like I've lost all my braking reference. I've just all of a sudden trying to take that little bit of a different line and still try to make sure you are setting fast lap times, and all of a sudden mistakes kind of rear their ugly head. So the professionalism of Patrick Johnson there, just to get through that field a little bit cleaner than Lucas Keys, was kind of what made the gap again and get through and have another 2.5 second lead. So as we see, Jared just getting a penalty there for causing the collision before. We'll have to see if we can get a bit of an understanding on that collision, whether or not it was with Marshy or with someone else. Yeah, mate, 19 minutes to go. I can't believe it.
Seeing here a good battle between Busk and Klomp now. Switching positions back and forth a couple of times there, but Busk has now just taken over. Here we go. We've got this collision. Oh, it's a nasty one. Again, that same lockup that we saw from Lucas Keys. Different corner this time, but it's that same thing where the arse end of the Porsche just doesn't want to slow up. Perhaps they got the brake bias right the way forward. The fronts just lock up, seize up, and go sliding into the turn. And really, at that point, you're a passenger. The car is the mistress, and she's taking you out to dinner, and she hasn't told you where you're going. You are along for the ride.
It's brake bias the other side, mate. It's too far rear brake, so you lock the brake up. But yeah, got to get those percentage points a little bit higher. Yes, get that percentage point a little higher and wind a bit more front brake on.
I think the steward's showing a bit of their Italian generosity there, only going 10 seconds. I know it wasn't intentional, but he's probably pumped him and taken him out of the race there. So yeah, that's quite light, I reckon, compared to what Hodsy would usually whack me with the stick on a Tuesday night.
I think it was because there was no position lost or gained. So I think they've lost some serious track time and up to Murphy, but I don't think the gap was that close anyway. So I think they've just gone, hey, that was a little bit of a slap on the wrist. I know you've done your best. I know it was a mistake, but you still got to get a bit of a penalty there.
Sure, we got a battle on as old as pizza versus pasta between Keys and Johnson here now. Keys got to have that lingering spin out. It's just probably sitting somewhere front of mind as he goes and tries to chase down Johnson there. 1.5 seconds behind, so he's caught up quite quickly. Maybe Johnson just took a little bit of a rest there, a bit of reprieve. And speaking of the excellent battle I just mentioned, pizza or pasta, gentlemen? Where's your preference lie?
Pizza.
No way, it's pasta every day of the week. What are you going to have on the pizza? You have the same thing every time. mate.
Got time to think about the pizza versus pasta debate. I have to say I'm with Benny here. We've got Race Control letting us know that they're a pizza person. Thank you, Benny. I am also a pizza person. No pineapple on pizza.
Oh.
Completely agree. I'm a traditionalist as well. No more
That
than
is
3 toppings.
completely un-Australian. That's an insult.
Pizza is, right?
That is an insult. Here, pineapple on a pizza every day of the week. Sign me up.
I can tell you now, being in Hawaii, when I say that to the Hawaiians, I go, isn't the pineapple on pizza, that's what makes it Hawaiian? The filthy looks I get across the lunchroom table is really something else.
It's the national dish.
Supposedly. Maybe they know something we don't. It's one of those things that just gets misconstrued. But something that isn't misconstrued is a call out for our sponsor, Thermaltake. The Thermaltake Sprint Series. We've just had an amazing couple of nights in the Sprint Series on a flooded track last night with Bathurst. Of course, there'll be a Sprint Series race after this tonight as well, where you can tune in to watch Bathurst go haywire again, possibly with some adverse weather. But fellas, I'm sure you know, but for those in the audience that may not know, the winner of the Sprint Series this year gets a G6 direct drive racing wheel with pedals bundle from Thermaltake. They've broken into the sim racing world, and they've done it with pace, real pace. So they've come in with a pretty, if you don't mind my saying, a pretty sexy looking little D-shaped wheel there. Looking prime for some iRacing stuff on NASCAR, or maybe you use it to lock in and grip in for that ACC stuff. But good on you, Thermaltake. Thanks so much for sponsoring us here at OOR. We love what you do, and we love that you love what we do. My goodness, Lucas Keys almost sticking the nose up in there just alongside Johnson, but Johnson managed to hold it together as they went full slide. So as we slide back out from the sponsor notice back into the racing, boys, what do you think's going to happen here? Do we expect something after this? Do we expect a little bit of action here from Johnson and Keys? Can he hold him off?
Buy me some GT4s again so Johnson can do another pick and roll. That's what we need again. We need some GT4 action to spice it up, because I think Keys' pace is just out of control. It's just looking like he's having a few little net code issues as he's pinging around.
I tell you what, I have seen. As we watch Johnson just slide into that right-hander, holding it together. Maybe those tyres are screaming. It is 35 degrees out there on track, so maybe we're expecting a little bit lower temperatures, and the tyre pressures are just right up as we see Lucas Keys take the inside line and really just send it through, having all that width of the track to hold the position there, taking it on Johnson. You got to think Johnson's having a bit of deja vu there, are you, Paddy?
And I'm saying invalid lap, so you got to give it the position back.
Get behind, Keys. Give it up.
No, mate. I sit here as an academy driver. I sit in awe of a lot of them doing an absolute awesome job in some machinery that they don't really practice too much on a weekly basis. But the unicorn that is Lucas Keys, I was watching some old streams of last season, and I saw Pitt was in the BMW throwing down some heaters, and I want to see some real pro drivers come back, and hopefully when the Pro Series comes back around that we can get some solid. Lucas Keys just wanted to throw it away in the last sector here, but I want to see the Pro Series competition at the end of this year really step up again.
14 minutes to go now, and Lucas Keys is just putting it everywhere on track, seeing if he can find his own limits, not just the track limits. Thurcolini having continued to hold off McDowell here. 7 seconds behind our sort of pair of leaders, Patrick Johnson and Lucas Keys. McDowell sitting just over a second behind there. Then we've got Murphy 10 seconds behind Bartoletti. Byrne with the 10-second penalty, and then we go into our GT4s. Raschuti still holding off a 7.5 second lead ahead of Jensen. I haven't seen that time move too much at all, but we've got Vintner now dropping behind 2-3 seconds now behind Jensen. Griffiths, Busk, Klomp, Marsh, Lean and Baker up the back there. Baker having now served his drive-through penalty.
It's shout out to Raschuti tonight, mate. It's been absolute class driving that GT4 of his in the Maserati.
I think it was about time that Stefan got a good run at it. He's had a couple of weeks of not so good luck, I think, from the car again with the enunciation every time you get me, Stefano. So far, King slow. There we go. We're keeping it kid-friendly here. making sure that we stay PG. But yeah, absolutely fantastic drive from him so far. What a legend.
Hey, that name staying firmly in the holster tonight with the team name. That is not going to be even tried, but Stefano doing an absolute ripping job here, just stretching the lead again, just over 8 seconds now. So he's put some practice laps in, and after having maybe a few disappointing rounds, maybe in his level of want and desire, he's gone, you know what, I'm gonna put these boys to shame tonight, and really put in an awesome drive to just stretch out and just check out and go for an easy win.
Sure. Danzo, what's your thoughts on the start replay that we just watched there? Mr. Hedman on the cameras tonight just brought up a good little replay for us.
Yeah, I was just watching that. Was that Blake on the apex? He just said, no way past, and just parked on the apex, elbows out, and just pumped. Not pumped, I just checked that other car and sent them out into the middle of the track. Bit of an overreaction from the other car, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would say that's a dance floor hip bump, mate. That's the hips to the side, Shakira style, hips not lying, just pushing the other car out wide, holding off Jensen there. It was a good way to assert some dominance early, but Jensen clearly taking a bit of that track position back. We're watching Marshy now sitting tight in behind the BMW of Klomp. Marshy in probably one of the best looking cars out there tonight, I think, in the livery. You get my uptick there, Marshy, but this is going to be a really interesting flow here. We've got the Porsche, which has quite a bit of speed. The BMW more consistent all round. We expect to see Marshy push on here, but Klomp's kind of holding well. Actually sucking in nicely, hitting those apexes. You can really use the sort of lines of the apex here to pull the car around. That's exactly what Klomp's doing.
She's doing an absolute ripping job. I know past couple of weeks have had a few solo races, bit of not too much wheel-to-wheel action or door-to-door action, but tonight getting the elbows out. I know got hindered with the Lucas Keys little half spin and lost his position to Klomp as he just sails it in so deep that just misses any colour of black, just driving on the red stuff on the outside, and all that hard work of catching up to Klomp just completely disappeared. Really making sure that he wants to have a great race tonight.
You will have seen a poll just appear in your YouTube chat for everyone watching. Keep that in your back pocket. Have that hang around until a little bit later on when we go through the thermal overtake of the week. As put together this week by the wonderful media team, I believe, at Thermaltake. They've put together a video compiling all of our replays. So thanks heaps, guys. The level of professionalism and work that you've done into that really, it's really going to tie this night up in a nice little bow, or this early race session as we transition into sprints a little bit later on.
Definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and yes, as you said before, make sure you get your clips into Discord so Thermaltake can get them put together and we can highlight your amazing racing. Mate, under 10 minutes to go, and we've kind of just gone into a bit of a lull at the moment, and I think we've got the Thurkalini McDowell battle that's nice and close. That's still just going to probably be the highlight for the last little bit, whether or not tensions boil over. And we're also just looking at the Marsh battle, whether or not he can join it back up. But Lucas Keys just driving away from the field and looking at on board, just looking at these lovely hands as we just slide around this lovely Misano 35-degree circuit tonight.
What's your guess there, Matt? Is McDowell making the top three? Is he getting in there, or is Thurkalini just got to keep that half-second gap for the next 8 minutes?
It's hard to say, to be honest, mate. I'm watching the two of them. They've been going back and forth at this for ages, but the one thing that McDowell hasn't been able to do, Dylan hasn't found a way around just yet. He's sort of just sitting there, he's threatening in a couple of spots, but they are so evenly matched at this track. I really don't know if he's finding a way around, mate. As I said, this is one of my favourite liveries, sort of, the orange and black matte look. I think it's great as we see him just start to try and attempt a mind punt there on Thurkalini, but Thurkalini too good. Dylan's just looking to find any bit of room he can, but I don't know if he's got the pace for the rest of this race. I think Thurkalini's going to hold him off in that wonderful little Bulgogi Systems livery.
It's the battle of the Ds, Damiano and Dylan. So I think, mate, my money's on Damiano. Hold him off. I think he did a really good job with having Lucas Keys behind him for such a long time. Nothing's going to fluster my man. in the Singapore restaurant bulgogi CO restaurant stuff. So I'm backing him in if he's brave enough to get some food cooked by a fire-breathing flamethrower. He's cool and calm under the pressure. So go on.
We almost see some rear action there in the Battle of the D's.
If you ask me, I think McDowell's going, look, mate, I've got the pace and I am ready to make a move. Like, I'm taking this fight to you. Oh, gee.
He has got the pace and hasn't got the brakes. It looked like almost another rearward punt there. And we'd hate to see a rearward punt in the Battle of the D's. We don't want that. We do not want that.
I want to know what sim rig Dylan has, because he has to push the brake pedals so hard. It has to be tremendously strong, I reckon, because some of these brakes are just on the absolute limit, and lucky that the netcode hasn't collected these two, because there just mustn't be any space between the front and rear bar of these two drivers.
Maybe it's one of those situations where he's running a 200 kilo load cell, but he's got a concave bloody brake pedal from how hard he's pushing on it. Oh, we see the same happen again. Look out, Dylan.
Stop trying to pass him into the corner. Stop trying to pass him into the corner. Pass him out of the corner, Dylan. Come on, if you want to get past, you've got to set him up a bit better.
The real question is, 6 minutes time, who's going to walk away as the superior D? That's what's on everyone's mind.
Who's got the better D coming out of this as we watch Thircolini and McDowell. Dylan, this is Damiano. The Battle of the D's, as Dave called it. They've got 5 minutes, 50 seconds to try and have an outcome as we go back to something a little less innuendo heavy. We've got Marsh and Klomp. Klomp sticking it through, saying no way past, holding Marshy up there. Marshy throwing just about everything he can at this battle, managing to keep it in line, keep it on the track this time. As he shows the nose, looking for a way past. Now, we know from this perspective, Marshy, you're never making it around there, mate. They're going for a classic Lucas Keys style mine punt there, using all of the track. That's well done, though. That's fair play. Play on.
There's only about 3 laps to go, so the opportunities are starting to dwindle as even these two, Klopp, pulling in Busk as well. So, this could actually come down to maybe a couple of passes here for Marsh, but I think with Marshy, putting the pressure on Klomp now, he's going to have to start driving a little bit more defensive, as we've got just another iteration of Dylan McDowell going even closer and closer to the rear bar of the Collini here. So, oh my goodness! Keep it on track, Dylan. Come on, mate. We've got 2 laps to go. Keep it together.
We got a D on the loose.
I don't think the Porsche engineers had lawn mowing in the ideas for that car there.
Jim's mowing got an upgrade.
Making its way through.
Right, the front splitters of those Porsche Cup cars at some of the other tracks we've been to would have been put through the ringer on the grass, but Marshy.
As we see Marshy trying to stick the nose in, have a go. That is not considered alongside as per the OOR rules, Marshy. You've got to be really careful there, mate. Sit alongside there, trying to... and you just parks it on the apex.
That's excellent.
That's really good from Marshy as he accelerates away, uses every ounce of the Porsche's acceleration, but has to go around the outside. The two are going to be alongside now for this entire back straight. However, we see the Porsche of Marshy pulling away. Good on you, Davo. Well done. Another D.
Of Klomp coming back underneath. And we've got Lucas Keys coming up in the background.
These two cars have been too wide for basically 4 corners now. Holding it together, Marshy sitting, he's going to have the inside run in this next corner, but almost gives it up to Klomp. Manages to hold off the brakes and not pump him. Well done there, mate. Holding that down. Now he's pushing his brake pedal through the floor. Lucas Keys coming around the outside. See if he can get a bit of a toe there, Marshy. Pulling up the D.
Helping his fellow Porsche there get a bit of a slipstream, but just look at the top speed of the Beamer. Just blast ahead of the little Porsche there, and Marshy again just has to go back to work in carrying this corner speed and close this gap up under brakes again. And he's probably only opportunities really only through the first sector, because the the BMW just has such long legs that can just stretch the gap again. So Marshy just really got to concentrate and knuckle down and try and get these next couple of laps as a really clean laps to close this gap back up and make that pass.
He's going to have to do it next lap. He's going to have to close this gap up, buy your time, and then next lap, sector 1, sector 2, make the move.
He's got another great run on him though. I wonder if he's going to send it down the inside again. Late under brakes. No, Klomp's got the inside a little bit covered this time. So I think there might be only one more opportunity for these drivers after this lap, because only 2 minutes to go. Whether or not we're going to have a pass. And Dylan McDowell, just for an update, back off just over 1 second gap between McDowell and Damiano Thurcolini. So that might have settled down in the grand scheme of things. Maybe they come across some GT4 cars and those gaps just opened up a little bit.
Yeah, Marshy holding here. He was looking for a thermal overtake of the week, but if he hadn't managed to stick, I reckon we would have seen it there. But look how much better the Porsche is under brakes than the BMW. But as you mentioned, Davo, it's just got the legs. Watch the BMW start to stretch away here, pulling away, even though Marshy's getting a toe up this back straight here now. Unbelievable racing from these two, but as you said correctly, I think, Danzo, they've got to do it in that first sector. David Marsh is really going to have to put it down here. He's only got 1 minute and 20 left to do it.
Be patient, Marshy. Be patient. Buy your time. Close the gap up. And I don't know if you've seen it, but Marshy's just been finding a whole nother track on the inside. I think he's looked at it, he's gone, I've got track cuts up my sleeve. I'm going to just park it on the red stuff up the inside to try and find that extra 0.1 through Sector 1 and Sector 2.
Mate, the worst part about it, we've got Patrick Johnson coming up behind them as well, so hopefully he doesn't get an opportunity to mess with this. But we see Rick McDowell just must have got a bit of a run with Thurcolini with the GT4, jinking left, jinking right, around the outside, hip and shoulder. And I'm not sure what's going to happen there. The stewards might have to have a bit of a look at that one, but I think that might be some pretty clean racing right there, as these guys just navigating their way through the GT4 class. And we've got the Marshy Klomp battle with Patrick Johnson in the middle of them up ahead as well. So these guys have done a tremendous job. Yeah, actually, these guys have pulled Johnson in. He's had a 7-second lead on these two, and it's come all the way down to only 2 seconds. So while these two have been battling, they've been putting down some thunderous laps and catching back up to Johnson as well.
And we've got that battle of the GT4s split up now. Marshy well behind Klomp, having to let those Porsche Cup cars go. But the battle of the D's is going to come under brakes as we see Dylan McDowell throw it up the inside. Is he going to relinquish the position or hold it on? We're 3 wide with the GT4 BMW just pulling away there. The two of them are going up this back straight, neck and neck into a right-hander. They're going to have right-handers from here on out. So McDowell's going to try and get to that inside, but cannot stand up to the capacity there of Thurcolini, who manages to run wide as we're talking about him. I can't look away. Oh, drifting around the outside. You've got to think that's the door open. More of that Italian hospitality as McDowell goes sailing up the inside, says, thanks for having me over for dinner. I'll take a glass of wine and a slice of pizza to go. Thank you very much, mate. Tyres are Gornskis on these cars.
Dylan McDowell closes out with a third last corner pass to get himself on the box. Well done. That was an absolute fantastic run. Damiano's going to be absolutely filthy with himself with a late race mistake, just going so deep down the back. But we knew Dylan McDowell was going to be really good under brakes, so he had to kind of brave it and make sure that had one opportunity to make sure he didn't get past, but just bottled it a little bit.
For sure, as we come down to the dying minutes of this race now, the dying seconds, we're going to see if we can get a replay up just in a second for you of that overtake. God, that's a good contender for the Thermaltake overtake of the next week. Look at that. He's squeezing up the inside as Klomp also pretty much blocks Thurcolini there. They go 3 wide, two Porsche Cup cars and a GT4 going up the back straight of Misano. This is multi-class racing at its absolute best.
Was there no contact? Dylan McDowell wasn't even in the same postcode when Damiano started putting the brakes on.
As we come here from behind, and then that's when Thurcolini goes wide as anything, and then McDowell says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that next turn and the one after that, and I'll drive it home for the P3 there. That would have been Excellent work there as we see the leaderboard. Lucas Keys, Patrick Johnson, McDowell, Thurkalini, Murphy, Bartoletti, Byrne, Raschuti, Jensen Vintner, Griffiths, Busk, Klomp, Dave Marsh not managing to get around him there as we see Baker bringing up the rear just behind Lean. What an absolute hell of a race. What a great finish from only 16 cars there.
Halfway through the race, I said it's gone into a bit of a lull, and it just absolutely ignited with about 20 minutes to go. So that was an absolute pleasure to watch tonight. But Dan, I'm going to send it to you first. I want your driver of the night.
Driver of the night. It's got to go to Thurkalini, actually. It was the Battle of the D's, but he held that for so long and just drove a really good race the entire time. I'm interested to see what you two think.
For sure. My Thermaltake driver of the night, I reckon, actually goes to Klomp for holding off Marshy there. I think that little section of the race there, the GT4 was at the end, where Klomp just got the legs on the GT4 BMW and managed to pull away from a threatening Marshy. Really well driven there, Klomp. Good work, mate. Davo, Thermaltake driver of the night. What do you got for us?
I'm going Mr. Dylan McDowell for his left leg. Must be absolutely in agony. He's either going to be cramping for the rest of the night in split red, but somehow he didn't clobber anyone in the back. Yeah, that brake pedal is an absolute superior thing, so I'm giving it to Mr. Dylan McDowell for an awesome P3. Well done.
It makes you wonder if he can fit into pants and jeans with a left leg that big. You got to buy 2 different size pairs of pants, sew them together. Danzo, that was a GT4 and a Porsche Cup car race. It was the first multi-class race that you've had the pleasure of commentating on. Give us your thoughts overall, mate. My brother, you're in Hawaii. You've dialed in for the night. Mate, tell us what you thought. Love to hear it.
I just absolutely love it. Multi-class racing, same story as you, Matt. It's what I started with in the OOR Trio series, and I just keep coming back because there's nothing else like it. Lucas Keys having to deal with the blue flag cars, spinning out mid-race, having to claw back that 5-second gap was just something else. And Matt, we are actually coming up on my favourite time of the stream. I've been looking forward to it all night, and that is the mouse, the mouse winner for the week.
Absolutely. We go to our man on the cameras, Benny Hignett. Thanks so much for setting this up. As we talked about earlier, everyone, to go in the draw for the Thermaltake Pro TT Esports gaming mouse with RGBs to boot. You just have to simply enter into the sprint races or into the fun race tonight, the Porsche Cup car and GT4 multi-class race. You can actually enter into both and get double entry here as well. You'll see a lot of names on the board here. This is everyone that raced this last week as part of the OOR Racing League. So we're going to go ahead. Benny, give us a spin. We'll see who gets the mouse for this week. Spinning, spinning, spinning. We're seeing Glory Babby. Hey, narrowly going over Salvaggio and Gamble there. Glory Babby, congratulations. And we know, I'm giving a bit of a spoiler here, but we're about to see an overtake from you as well. So that's well deserved. Great work, Glory. Get in touch with the admin at OOR and your mouse will be on its way.
Now, onto the thermal overtake, I believe, coming into number 1.
Absolutely. We've got Rondinella, a.k.a. Loopty, known to many of us, and Jamie Conboy, JC, going neck and neck here last week. What a track, the Nürburgring, and they're going side by side. We've got JC around the outside. This is very reminiscent of the racing that we saw tonight. We've got them going, a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of racing, but it's all part of the game as we see JC sticking it around the outside and makes the pass. Going into the inside of the next turn there, up the backside of Nürburgring. What an absolute corker. We got number 2 here as well.
Yeah, is this Carl Johnson and Zach Jensen?
Most certainly is.
Yeah, Battle of the J's here coming down the straight as we see the Porsche trying to get underneath. Oh, beautiful. Like, that is just absolutely top class racing, that is. Love to see it every time. That is, that's a highlight, that one. I'm loving Thermaltake for pulling that one out.
Right, if we love a bit of crisscross applesauce, have a look at this one. We've got Zach Jensen on the inside, Benny V on the outside. I think we're going to see Benny V go a little bit too deep, and Zach Jensen's going to be up the inside. And this was actually the pass for the lead. And I know they go side by side through the second last corner. Kyalami braving the big sausage curve on the inside. So absolute fantastic racing.
We got the last one here. I mentioned that Glory Babby was going to be in this, and there they are. So Babby coming up against, I can never remember the other name, and I'm so sorry, but they stick the pass. What an incredible overtake there. Watching the Aston just pull away at the front there. What a race.
Yeah, here we go. This is Babs and Giacomin.
Babs and Giacomin now. Sorry about that. That was Aston, the Vintner Aston last time, but we've got Glory Babby in the Penrite Racing, a wonderful reminiscent livery for all of us here, us Aussies watching the Penrite Racing, managing to go around the inside of the turn 2 and 3 at the Nürburgring, a little bit of bumping, but manages to stick it on the Ferrari there. What a pass. Really well done.
And holding on for the lead. Yeah, Giacomin just loves sticking the nose in that Ferrari. Unlucky for Giacomin, led that race for 52 minutes, wasn't it? I think something like that was just absolutely crazy. So yeah, Babs was really up the inside. But mate, guys, thank you so much for tuning into our awesome stream of GT4s. Don't go anywhere. As you can see on your screen right now, Split Red going to be brought to you by Lindsay and Neil. Stick around for some awesome wet racing at Bathurst. And don't forget, this is Octane Online Racing. See you later.
Thermaltake Genesis Ultimate V5 is your ticket to playing the hottest PC games right now. This gaming PC has been handcrafted for pure performance, giving players the power of a GeForce RTX 5060 graphics card, 16GB of DDR4 RAM, and an AMD Ryzen 5600 CPU. All powered by Thermaltake's very own Smart BX3 650-watt power supply. A ready-to-go gamer's dream built inside our popular Versa H16 case. Go the extra mile and plan your upgrades on the Thermaltake LCGS website. Your first victory is just a button press away.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the Thermaltake Sprint Series Split Red here at Bathurst. I'm joined tonight by the wonderful Neil Haynes and good evening to everyone in the chat. I hope you're all doing well and thoroughly entertained after that GT4 and Porsche Cup race. Neil, how are you going?
Oh, a lot drier than the guys out there, that's for sure. And Split Red's going to end this flooded round at Bathurst for round 4 for the Thermaltake series. And only the way that the Split Red guys can do it, I would imagine.
Yep, I'm sure these guys are well used to some tricky conditions. Obviously, their reputation precedes them. Very wet track tonight. It is currently showing as flooded as we are looking on board with Carl Johnson fighting that Porsche, trying to get over the mountain as he heads through Solomon Park. Very tricky section here as he is the first car, I believe, on the track to be setting a valid lap after their out lap as he heads through McPhillamy Park, one of the trickiest corners in the dry, even more tricky in the wet obviously, as he heads down the S, slides that Porsche in, very nicely done, keeps it nice and tidy at the same time as well. Porsche pretty good in the wet, so I reckon he'll be on for a decent time here if he can keep it together.
Yeah, and you did say these leading the pack for the first to do valid time, but I think there's been a few attempts of a first lap as well, so conditions are very tricky out there. And how are you feeling after your 5th place last night as well in the Bentley for your own run, Aidan?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. That was a very full-on race. I had a good battle with John Hislop and Damiano Thurcolini throughout the race. That was very enjoyable, but yeah, conditions pretty much the same as what we're seeing here. I got lucky quite a few times with big oversteer moments and some crashes into the wall, but yeah, I mean, these sort of races are very much races of attrition, so as long as you can keep it out of the barrier on a track like this, obviously very tough, you should be pretty well. So Carl Johnson takes the first position and Patrick Johnson steals it away from him, not by much though, as they cross the line to finish their first lap. So in the 2:14s already, those are pretty good as Brady Adderton blows them out of the water with a 2:14 flat in that Ford. Very experienced and quick driver, Mr. Brady. I think he's been practicing for this one quite a bit, and as you know, anyone who knows Brady, he has a lot of time around this track. He's someone that enjoys Bathurst quite a bit, so I'm expecting some good times from him.
Yeah, most of our regular viewers for Split Red would know that Brady is actually leading the championship as well, coming into round 4, and only by 2 points actually from Lucas Keys, so it'll be interesting to see how Lucas goes in the Nissan. Expecting possibly the Nissan to be fairly competitive here in the wet as well, but I'm sure it's going to be tricky for everyone out there, and as you said, you got lucky for your 5th position. I think everyone will hope Lady Luck's on their side tonight to get a good result. And talking about Lucas Keys, we're on board as he goes through Pearl Corner and starts his lap up Mountain Straight.
Yeah, so I think Lucas so far has just kind of trundled around getting ready for this lap. So I don't really expect Lucas to be 3 seconds off the time. So he's going to head up Mountain Straight now into Griffin's Bend. There is a yellow flag ahead of him, so hopefully they can get that sorted before he gets up there. But tucks that GTR into the camber of Griffiths. That's pretty good turn 2 for him. He hasn't gained too much time, but this is where we should see some of those proper driving skills on display from Mr. Lucas Keys as he heads up through the cutting. does lose a little bit of traction, equalises his delta, but obviously he did lift off quite a bit, so the delta is probably going to stay fairly the same until we get to the latter part of the lap. So nice and tidy through Reed, Philomene now. Gets a bend. Obviously Lucas is just nailing those lines right now, getting it nice and squared away. The GTR quite a big car as he goes quite aggressive through Skyline and down the S's, but not too much over the limit as he's still equal on his delta as Brady gets a nice big slide out the final corner, crosses the line, improves by almost half a second. And the one thing to remember on these sorts of wet tracks is that the times should in theory go down as the session goes on, as more of the water is cleared out of the way by the cars currently on track. So timing your laps to start your lap as late as possible is a crucial part of qualifying.
Yeah, and some of the viewers might be wondering as well. You can see here, obviously, watching Tafiq in the Ferrari. He's got his traction on 7. And I think when we were just looking at Lucas Keys, he had it all the way down to 2 on these wet conditions. So obviously different cars, different settings, but it's pretty game, I'd say, for him to be on 2. But here he is, 4 seconds up on his best lap. This would probably put him on pole, and it does by 0.6 of a second from Brady. So he's that traction control on 2 is very working very good for him.
Yeah, another car that should be good in the wet is the Aston Martin that we are looking at right now of Nathan Monks, and that cognizant F1 style inspired livery as he heads down, gains a bunch of time through the cutting, so that's probably where he's kind of come undone in previous laps, as I do expect Nathan Monks to be putting in some pretty good times here, as gains a bit more time on exit of Forest Elbow here, up to 7 tenths, which should jump him at least 3 spots. However, the leaders, 2 seconds to 6th place from first is pretty ridiculous. I know the qualifying hasn't ended yet, but already we're seeing a pretty big gap between the front runners and some of the cars preceding as he hits the brakes on the 150 board. Gets it stopped nice and well, now gets on the throttle. He's currently 8 tenths up, almost 9 now, as gets up to that 9 tenths. So he's going to gain almost a second here, Nathan Monks, in this lap. So like I was saying, the track condition improving significantly from the start of the session as that water is now cleared out the way, and Nathan Monks moves up to P3, but still 1 second behind the 2:13.0 of Lucas Keys.
Yeah, so what you're saying basically is, most of these drivers will really want to make sure they got enough fuel to keep going until the very end here and not visit the pit lane, and keep those temperatures in the tyres. And as you said, as the track starts to dry out a little bit, or well, not dry out, but at least wash a bit of that water off the line, get that extra grip that they're really chasing. But as Brady now goes up the hill, got a good exit out of the first corner. See if you can get through Griffin's Bend nice and get on the power without too much of a slide. He's been a very good driver of this Mustang throughout this series, and it's great to have these liveries back after last week's little issues we had with the lobby, and we were missing some of these great liveries out there.
Big slide from Brady on the exit of the cutting there. The Mustang very difficult to get the power down. Oh, that is a big moment. That is going to cost him dearly, but as I was saying, Mustang very difficult to get the power down, especially in first gear. I noticed he was using, which I guess you don't have that much of a choice because the Mustang has such long gearing, but as soon as you try to put your foot down in first, it just goes wild. And obviously yet another big oversteer moment as Nathan Monks was up about 5 tenths, has lost a bit of time on the exit of the Dipper. I think he lost about 1.5 tenths, but he's going to still lose a little bit more as they head down Conrad Straight now. Still 3 tenths up, so he will improve this lap unless something bad happens at the chase, trying not to curse him. But I don't think he's going to move up any positions, as the top 2 are still a second off. Or Lucas is a second off and Brady is 4 tenths off. Nathan Monks is 4 tenths off Brady Addison's time, so It's going to be hard for him to actually make up any places here, as he does lose a little bit more time through the final corner, does gain it a little bit back, but they're going to head onto their final laps now, or at least these cars we're watching, as Taufik is now heading down the straight now. Will Taufik make another lap? I'm not sure he will. It's going to be close. I actually don't think he's going to make another lap. So this is Taufik's last lap, which is kind of unfortunate for him because that's timed pretty much as bad as you can get, considering the track condition. But he's going to gain a bit more time here for himself to possibly move up past Stefano Rasciuti and maybe Breno Ellis. But he's going to have to keep it together for the very tricky final corner. This final corner in the wet is so hard. It's easily one of the most deceptive corners on the track as he crosses the line and gets Stefano. But Stefano, Breno, Patrick Johnson, Carl Johnson, I think are all still on laps. So Taufik's time could get beaten here as we see Lucas again improving on that 2:13.0, which I highly doubt is going to be beaten, as that is just an absolute monster time from Lucas Keys.
Yes, here comes the Audi driver of Ellis. Wasn't too sure of how the Audi's going to handle around here at Bathurst. You can see he's wrestling all the way down the hill, down the dipper, and he's got some good times here, trying to see if he can get that third position and be on the inside into turn one on the start of this race. But it's looking good at this stage, but he's just got to find out a little bit more, be brave at the end here into the chase. He's got a car in front, but I don't think that's going to affect him. But it was important for Monks that previous lap as well to try and keep that time, because he knows he's got these drivers breathing down his neck to try and take that third position on the grid.
Yep, so here's Carl Johnson again, 2.5 tenths up coming into the final corner as Nathan Monks pulls off the circuit, so he's abandoning his final chances. Carl Johnson does make a decent amount of time through the final corner and does jump up into P5 as we look at Breno Ellis here sliding that Audi, just struggling to keep control of it, and he is not going to beat Nathan Monks' time. As we look at Jasmine here, who is P10. A good effort from him being a Pro-Am driver. 5 tenths up. He can gain 4 positions from this if he just maintains this 5 tenths, which I don't think he's gonna do. He's gonna lose a bit of it and cross the line in 8th, which is still a great effort from a Pro-Am, actually in front of a few pros there. So yeah, that is an incredible effort by Ahmad Jasmine to put that McLaren into P8.
Yeah, it was very nice of a good result for the Pro-Am of Jasmine. He'll be super happy about that. As we have our grid walk by here. And appreciate all these liveries for the split red for Thermaltake.
Yeah,
one
definitely.
livery I do like, I think, sorry there, Aiden, is the one coming up shortly, the Shark of, I think was Taufik. I think it might have been.
Yeah, the blue and white Ferrari. Yep.
What a ideal, what a great time to bring out that livery over this flooded track here at Bathurst.
Yeah, might give him an advantage in that. But yeah, so the final order coming into this 1 hour race, no pit stops. So it's basically just survival. Just drive the entire race and try not to crash. It's going to be Lucas Keys, followed by Brady Adderton, Nathan Monks, Breno Ellis, Carl Johnson, Taufik, Rasciuti, Johnson, and Goeb. Rounding out the top 10, that is Johnson's lovely fruit bowl livery on the right, followed by that nice Milwaukee Mustang on the left. That is a beautiful livery. Whoever made that. That is piloted by Tim Goeb, followed by the Porsche of Pete Chums and the other Porsche of Scott Rochford. These two always seem to be glued together wherever I see them in their Porsches. Actually, we've got 4 Porsches, a bit of a Porsche Cup here behind them. So that's Zach Warren on the right, followed by Pete Viney on the left. I actually can't see the name of the... Oh, it's a KA car, so... It's a KA Motorsports.
O'Brien?
O'Brien, yeah. Oh, the number 420. That is entirely possible. Yep. That is the number 420. I think that's a Dick Johnson inspired Ferrari.
I believe you'd be correct in saying that.
Then there is MS, because I'm not going to try pronouncing that name, sorry, next. And we have Rosser, followed by the other Rosser in the McLaren. Ben Curtis, one of our lovely stewards on the right in that nice looking Mustang.
I don't think we've
Harry
seen that one. That's a very good looking Mustang,
Yeah.
that one actually.
Yeah, it is. It's got some... Wow, that is a very detailed bonnet. Hopefully it's not broken by the end of this race. Harry Smiles on the left in the BMW. On the right, we've got Igor in his Porsche, followed by Brickley in that GTR. Brad Gosling behind, and the board has run out, but we do have a Porsche, a Mercedes, which is a bit of an endangered species, a lot like the Audi, not many of them around, a Lambo, which is also a bit rare, and an Aston Martin to follow at the end of the grid.
Yeah, so a big grid there tonight. About, what is it, we're looking at about 26 cars, possibly?
Yeah, something like that, 26, 27 cars.
But here they go. Time to warm themselves up, get those few nerves, just feel what this track's going to be. But I don't think it's going to change for this flooded all race. So they're going to have to just deal with it, and we'll see. I don't know if the Great White Shark, if Tafiq's going to be a fan favourite tonight, but I think livery is something special for this flooded track for round 4.
Definitely, as we a lovely shot of them heading up the mountain straight. We were joking about how last night it is a warm-up lap, but in reality it's anything but warm out there in that flooded track. And now we get to see an idea of the visibility, or lack thereof, when you're driving in a 27-odd car grid on a full wet track. There is not much able to see out the front of these cars.
A lot of people will be hoping to see this man, Nathan Monks, have a good turn of luck, actually, change of luck, because he's been struggling a little bit in the series with some bad luck. So hopefully that he can get through up in the position 3, he can escape any of the mayhem and try and follow both Lucas and Brady in front of him. We know Breno's going to be putting the pressure on to try and see if he can get a sneaky move. Maybe with a good exit on the out of turn 1 and get a good run up Mountain Straight and be positioned up in the inside of Griffin's band for turn 2. That's where a lot of the mayhem may be too, up into turn 2 as well. That right-hander, possibly with cars, do get a little bit slippery, as we say, that cambered corner.
Yeah, last night I remember we had a few casualties through there, and yeah, if you're offline in that turn 2 and you get on the outside, especially in these sort of conditions where you have to kind of run on the inside, yeah, there's just no grip out there. And I think we'll see that a few times where, although ACC is not particularly realistic with its use of wet lines or kind of just driving the dry line in the wet, once you get off that racing line in the wet, there's not much grip out on the other parts of the track. So yeah, the whole grid now heads down into the chase. This final sort of bit they have before they start lining up double file. There they go. So we got a nice sort of overhead drone shot here of just seeing the insane amount of spray being kicked up by the grid, which is obviously going to give the drivers a bit of trouble and make it quite hard to stick close behind somebody. But yeah, this is shaping up to be a very interesting race. It's the last one of this round. Obviously split red round on Thursday night. Very last race of the week. But Neil, you can take the start away.
Yeah, no worries. That's important. We've got a bit of a flash in there for Lucas Keys, but they find themselves over the grid starting boxes for the start of the race. So they all line up over their grid boxes, as you can see. And it might be a little while before we see the green. They'll drag them down here, down the front straight. As Lucas Keys is moving away from his pit box area, so I'm not too sure if that might be looked at, but here we go. So he's, and we've got Monks. I've already given the commentator's curse, hoping that he'd get through all right, but he's got a little bit sideways and right in the front of Breno, I think it was, which was able to get through. He's got some battle scars in front on that Audi. And
Safety
as
car.
we would think, safety car has been caught. But we're going to have a good race up the top of Mountain Straight there with 2 wide. It'll be neutralised now.
Yeah, I think you've cursed Nathan Monks, unfortunately, saying how you wanted him to have a bit more favourable luck, and yeah, he's had a bit of an incident turn 1. So I think Carl Johnson has been the big winner out of this, as that Porsche seems to be up quite a few positions as we get a replay here. So Monks has just sent it in a bit hard, gone into the side of Brady, and then just been the pinball within everything.
Great shark that got him.
Yeah, and Carl Johnson's just driven through. Just thank you very much, and he's up into P2. So I bet he'll be thanking his lucky stars. Unfortunately, obviously at the expense of someone else. But yeah, they're going to have a safety car lap or 2 here as we get the replay from Carl. You see Nathan Monks there just go too deep under the brakes, hit Brady Adderton, and then just, Taufik has also just, like you said, been caught right in the middle of that, and he's also dropped quite far down in the order to P14 and 15 for those 2 guys. So yeah, not quite the start they would want, but luckily it's a safety car, so they can kind of get back in the group, and they're 2 pretty quick drivers, so I think they should be able to make their way decently far up the grid as long as they don't have too much damage. Now, last night the race director did mention that if there was a safety car, it might be up to 2 laps, so I'm not sure if they're going to do that right now. I would guess not, since the field is together, but it's just something I heard last night mentioned.
Could be possibly been a big crash maybe, but it looks like a lot of that, they might have escaped quite a bit of damage, you'd think, because it was only a low speed sort of, coming together between some of the cars, so you wouldn't think that there'd be too much damage. Well, let's hope there's not, but so we're looking down the mid-pack as well, and as you can see, it's just the Constantino effect of all the cars just being checked up here.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a Ferrari sitting facing the wrong way after all that, but yeah, we didn't make it to turn 2, so we did kind of predict that it would be turn 2 that would possibly cause a few issues, but we did make it there. So Split Red has beaten the record, I think, because the previous 2 races we had here, the incidents, there was only a few small ones, and they all started at turn 2, I think. So yeah, Split Red have beaten the record, and the safety car is coming in this lap, which means I think Lucas Keys is going to take us away here. And he pulls over to the left. Yep, okay, looks like they've gone racing again. So Lucas Keys is going to take them away on lap 2 here, I think we're on. And the rest of the grid now follows. Obviously single file on a safety car restart. So hopefully this should be a little bit more tame than what we've seen, as Brady Adderton's going to be having a look at Stefano Rasciuti here, who's in that Ferrari. The Mustang obviously quite good on the straights, and Stefano's going to have a lot of trouble here trying to hold this around the outside, because there's not much grip, and yet Brady Adderton just gets that move done fairly simply, as Adderton got kind of bumped off the road on that start. Oh no, Patrick Johnson smacked the wall. Oh, yeah, that is not
just
what
as he turned in, I think he hit the inside, and that pushed him out back on the outside, but
just misjudged that corner. Very easy to do. Yeah.
Could be the spray as well.
Definitely.
There's a lack of visibility, so he's tucked in behind both the Mustang and that Ferrari, so...
no, the Audi of Breno Ellis is gone. Breno Ellis is gone.
Oh.
So, yeah, we've just started again, and already there is a decent amount of cars.
On the left-hand side.
Yep. So I think he's lost it possibly on the curb on the exit of Reed Park, but we'll have to get a few replays here. Yeah, Johnson obviously smacking the wall on the start, and then taking a decent bit of damage, I reckon, from that, and then Ellis just, I think, losing control, possibly from what we saw. So Brady Adderton, even though he did lose a few positions from that bump right on the start, he has made his way back up a little bit as we look on board with Johnson now. So it's going to be looking on that left-hand wall Oh, that is a hefty whack. He's definitely turned in a bit too early on that one and just clattered that wall. If any of you did the 12-hour enduro here, you remember Glory Babby unfortunately did the same thing there, but it ended a lot worse for him. I think he had steering damage and everything, so he's gotten a bit lucky with that. Patrick Johnson is, oh yeah, it's that exit curve, like I said, exit curve at Reed Park, and that Audi is just, it's not having it. It's just, I mean, the Audi is probably the car you least want to be doing that in, so unfortunately for Breno, that's sent him right to the back of the grid as we go and build Brady Addison now up Mountain Straight on the Porsche. Back a few months ago, this would have been kind of over before they got anywhere near the corner, as there is a bit of rubber banding, but as that Mustang now has the restrictor, it's going to get the move done pretty easy, and I think Cole just kind of let that happen. Knew he wasn't really in the same pace realm as Brady. Obviously Brady being in that incident on the start. So yeah, interesting start to the race. Hopefully there's not too much carnage in the next following laps.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we're going to see it all close up a little bit here in this mid-pack as well, as everyone sorts themselves out. Some of these faster drivers start to try and come through from the early incident. But Lord, we're looking at Gobi. He's obviously, looks like he's retiring with a lot of possible damage. Not too sure.
Yeah, that was a bit strange. I thought I saw damage on his car, but I'm not sure what. Maybe he was involved in the Nathan Monks thing at the start, as there is a Porsche around I've just spotted on our other monitor. I don't know exactly what Porsche. I think that's the 118 of Pete Viney. Here he goes. Oh, is this what I did last night? This is exactly what I did last night. Oh, that is a big spin. I got really lucky last night. I backed it in exactly like that, but it bounced me off and sent me forward so I could just put it into first gear and keep driving. But unfortunately for Pete Viney, he didn't get as lucky, and yeah, he's just been absolutely catapulted off that corner, and yeah, that's a hefty amount of damage on that Porsche. As we can see, Patrick
passenger. And I remember in real life, the 12-hour when the car went up over there and up into the barriers, there was a massive accident there. As we're looking for an overtake here, Johnson's on the outside, but can Raschuti hold him off? Raschuti currently third in this championship as well, just trailing Lucas Keys at this stage, but in the championship hunt. So he's going to make this hard for Johnson in the Bentley, because he wants hold of that fourth position and hopefully get past Johnson, who's up in front of the Kovacs in the Porsche. There's another replay. Oh, there's the Mercedes just losing it through the dipper.
Yeah, Patrick Johnson hitting a few curbs that I don't think he's wanted to in the last few corners there. He was getting quite close to Raschuti and then just started bouncing over the curbs. I think Raschuti struggling a little bit in these conditions in that Ferrari, and if Johnson is running a similar setup to what I was last night, the Bentley is incredibly fast in the straights. You get a replay, oh, is this the Tim Goeb thing? So that's, I'm not sure who the 18 for, oh, that is naughty. That is very naughty. Tim Goeb just, oh, yeah, that is, I have a feeling that's a penalty coming the Ferrari's way, as yeah, he's got massive damage on the front and steering damage
just holding
too.
on, Patrick, going over McPhillamy.
Oh, I was doing the same last night. It is one of those cars where you're just holding on, as Lucas Keys gets a 5-second penalty for being out of position on lap 1. As we see Patrick Johnson, just having to really wrangle the neck of that Bentley in these conditions. Quite a tricky car to drive in these sort of conditions, I think, even though it is a boat. It being fully wet doesn't really, I guess it could be worse, it could be an Audi, but yeah, in these conditions it's still a bit of a tricky car to drive.
Yeah, Ellis would probably vouch for that, but yeah, that's obviously what we picked up early in the race at the start of the race, Aidan, where Lucas looked like he moved away from his grid boxes quite considerably before the start of the race, so that is part of the rules that they must travel over their grid squares. If they're on the left or right, they must follow those grid boxes. So Picks up a 5-second penalty. We saw that last week as well, but he was able to negate that 5 seconds fairly easy. I actually think he had a 10 or 15-second penalty actually last week, and just did an amazing job just managing the gap out front to make sure that he had enough gap at the end of the race to hold on to the lead.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I've also noticed, Igor Zavaka, up to P10. He did, I think he started in something like P21. So that is 11 positions in the first 11 minutes. That's a position per minute for Igor. So it's pretty insane for him to get that far up. Or as I say that, he's just run wide. I hope he hasn't collected the wall there. Obviously I did a nice curse on him. As we're going to see the Nathan Monks. It's again on Brady Addison at turn 1. So yeah, just a bit too hard, and he then gets collected by Taufik and the McLaren as well, as Nathan Monks gets that 10-second penalty. So yeah, well done by Igor in P12. He did run wide, as I was saying. Well done, Tim. So sorry for cursing. That was a good effort from him.
He's doing a good job out there, and keeping Rochford hopefully at bay. He's third in the Pro-Am class to keep that up. So here's Taufik on the comeback drive, as we saw him involved in that last little replay where we sort of go, hitting Monks in this right Ferrari. And hopefully he can start to get up the order a little bit further if he can. He's got actually Ferraris in front of him, so we'll see how we can go. Rosser still up in 8th position. I think that's where he started. So he's been doing a great run at the start of this race to hold that position.
I think he is the one that Ness could go above the track though, so I'm not sure if he's going to be holding that position once the stewards take a look at that one. But yeah, I mean, for an AM driver to qualify, and to be eighth for now at least, that's a pretty good effort. As I wonder if Brady is going to be able to stay within Lucas for 47 minutes, because that is a mammoth objective there. Like, that is, I don't think many people can stay within Lucas's gap for very long, as we see Mod going for a move on the Nissan GTR of Brickley for P19, as that's also Breno Ellis in the background trying to get a piece of this, but the GTR will not allow that as it just takes off on the straights as Breno pulls out, goes for a late move. I can't see what's happening here. Okay, he gets the move done. I think just more confident with those Audi brakes, can brake a little bit later than the GTR into turn 1 and get that move done. As Patrick Johnson still on the back of Stefano Raschuti here. Stefano's dropped off the back of Johnson a little bit, so the current order's looking like Keys, Adderton, Johnson is going to stay like it has been for a little bit. As Stefano a bit wide there, that's very risky, putting those wheels on the grass. You can easily spin the car by doing that, but he manages to keep it going. As Patrick really closing up to the back of Stefano down this hill. I noticed the Bentley was quite stable going down the S as Stefano caps that wall. You don't want to do that too many times, otherwise you'll start to rack up some damage. Bentley very tricky into Forest Elbow, very easy to lock the fronts. As you can see, the Ferrari's pulled a bit of a gap to the Bentley through there. It's just a lot easier to handle through those sorts of corners. And yeah, Stefano's going to have a 7/10 gap, apparently, according to the timing table. I don't think that's quite right. Yeah, it's down to 4/10 now. As Cliff Mononutu, I think I said that right, gets a 5-second penalty for being out of position as well for lap 1. So we'll see a few people maybe caught out a little bit on that start with the lack of visibility, as Lucas Keys yet again sets the fastest lap of the race.
Now it looks like Ahmad Jasmine as well is just slowly catching these two as they're battling. So you can just see in the background, I think that green Porsche, of the McLaren, sorry, the what is it, what do you call it, day glow? I'm not too sure what colours, it's got colours everywhere actually.
Yeah,
neon
just
coloured,
neon, yeah.
McLaren. And so he's definitely slowly reeling these two in, and he's obviously bringing Chalmers with him as well. So we'll have a 4-way battle within a few laps. Oh no! Big spin by the
hold your brakes.
Porsche. He's been able to keep it off the wall.
Yeah, just. That was... He was just a bit wide on entry, and Porsche does not like being out of position with that engine in the back as Patrick Johnson runs it wide into the cutting. I also did that a fair few times. It's so easy to get on that painted line on the outside, and just once you get past those white lines, there is no grip. Yep, the lack of grip continues to show as Bentley just struggling to get the power down in an efficient way as we look at a bit more stable car, especially on power. The Ferrari, as it heads through, no issues whatsoever, just drives in a straight line, pretty easy. As I guess that car does suit the theme of Bathurst. It's a DJR car, so they've had quite a lot of success at Bathurst over the years as these two, Taufik and Nathan Monks, continue to drive together as a pack. They were in 14th and 15th on the start, and they've now made their way up to 10th and 11th, so they are slowly clawing back some of the gap that they did lose on the start. Obviously, two pro drivers, they are quite good at driving, obviously, as you'd expect, as we see the thong on Nathan Monks' car as they head down to the chase now. Very high speed corner, quite tricky, especially if you're in the slipstream and the spray. But yeah, I think these two guys might just try work together, make up some positions, and get a bit further up the grid.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be the plan for those guys. But Sam O'Brien, on the back of looking back at this Ferrari, he's right in the middle of the Ferrari threesome here. Rosser up the road, and he's just trying to see if he can keep the Taufik at bay. But Monks, I tell you what, wouldn't be happy having to visit the stewards again with that 10-second penalty. But look, these things happen, and in the wet conditions that we've had, and just being so slippery, tried to take it down the inside as we saw at the start of the race, and unfortunately tagged. I think it was actually originally ran into the back of the Mustang of Adderton. And talk about Adderton, I'm not too sure where he is. He
might have been disconnected
or something? So I've just seen him drop out a second.
I think he's disconnected before. So
that gives Lucas Keys now a big 11-second margin to second position. So Lucas just needs to just drive smart in these tricky conditions and come away to be able to extend his lead in this championship. But the man that might benefit from this is Rischuti, with Adderton at the moment disconnecting. Could see that Rischuti moves himself second in the championship, with Lucas Keys walking away at the end of this race leading the championship. So but still 41 minutes remaining. I won't start talking where they might be, Aidan, because we know the commentator's curse may come and bite these people, so we'll wait and see. There's plenty of racing still to come.
Yep, definitely. As we get a replay, I believe, of what happened to Adderton. There he is, and boop, he's gone. So that one is going to sting, because as you said, I think he's leading the championship at the moment. So that is, as Rischuti, that's quite wide. You do not want to be out wide in the chase, or at least the fast part there. That can go very badly. But yeah, very unlucky for Brady. Disconnected. Obviously nothing you can do. It's probably the worst feeling you can have while in one of these races, because there is quite literally nothing you can do, and all your hard work of practice and all that has just gone down the drain.
How about the time by Lucas Keys, that previous lap at 2:13.2, if you don't mind. It's I think it was faster than his qualifying time, so or was he near a 2:13 flat? I can't remember where he was actually, what the time was in the end for the qualifying, but I know it was either 2:14 flat, or was it a 2:13?
I think it was a 13 flat, but yeah, that's still a very good time. I know I've seen Lucas on the server quite a bit doing practice this week, so he's obviously put in the hours, and I think he's going to quite easily outdrive that 5-second penalty he has right now. As we look at Patrick Johnson and Stefano Rischuti again. Both these drivers just kind of locked in a battle that seems to ebb and flow. Sometimes Johnson can get up behind, but it's very hard to do clean, consistent laps in these sort of conditions. So that is kind of the nature of these gaps. And I think Stefano now starting to catch up to Johnson as without, well, okay, starting to catch up to Carl Johnson, because there's two Johnsons, but starting to catch up to Carl as he has less pressure now from behind from that Bentley, so he can just look forward and focus on driving up to the back of the Porsche in front of him. As Igor Zavaka gets a 15-second penalty, so that is definitely going to hurt his spots he's made up this race. Obviously, I was saying before, he did make up quite a few positions, but a 15-second penalty is going to put him down quite a few. Although, in saying that, the gaps over a race, especially at this track in these conditions, do definitely open up quite a bit. So Eagle still has a little bit of a chance here, as there is a yellow flag on the top of the mountain, as is sort of common, as Lucas Keys still going faster. So it is entirely possible that he goes faster in this session than he did in the quali, which is pretty ridiculous, but it is Lucas Keys we're talking about here, so I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, it's good to see also Ellis, he's made a move on Gosling earlier, that previous lap, so he was behind in 16th, now up to 15th. And we've obviously got Swayzwan Safiq, I think, in actually, as I speak, just overtakes Gosling by the looks of things. So he's now moved up to 16th as Jensen. Actually, I think Gosling is actually dropping down the order in 21st, so either he's had an off or something's happened, because he's dropped from 16th down to 21st very quickly. So we might be able to see a replay. And there's a BMW of Gosling, I think it is. And that's what's happened.
Yeah, as Cliff Monanu again gets another penalty, except this time it's a lot bigger. It's a drive-through for causing a collision, so that has to have been something fairly big, as you don't get a drive-through for a collision from nothing. So unfortunately for Cliff, that is...
He had that penalty earlier come up too. I think it was only 10, like a 5 or 15 second.
It was 5 for out of start.
Out of start. Okay,
yeah.
So then something else is followed on from there.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. Stefano's not... He's, like I said, it's kind of ebbing and flowing. He's having sort of some weird issues here. Just trying to keep that Ferrari, I guess, nice and out of the walls, as these two drivers kind of keep having sort of micro mistakes, which is stopping them from getting close to each other, or stopping from getting close to Carl. But we look out the rear of Sam O'Brien's KA Motorsport Ferrari to the Ferrari of Taufik, the Shark car behind him, and Nathan Monk's in that Aston as well, following close behind. Taufik, obviously a very experienced driver. He's been around for longer than the dinosaurs have been extinct. But Sam O'Brien also does know how to get his Ferrari around. He's also been around for a little while now in that 420 car. As Taufik ducks out of that spray to just try and get a bit better visibility. Oh, and goes off the track. So like I was saying, this last corner, very deceptive. Very easy to get wrong. I did that last night as well, not quite to that extent, but locking the fronts is ridiculously easy, and just forgetting that you have to brake a decent sort of 40 meters earlier in the wet on that corner, as it's kind of downhill. So you need to brake a lot earlier in the wet, which is obviously very easy to forget sometimes when you're driving, as what we've possibly seen from Taufik just then, as I should be about to get a replay here. And this is it, so he should be braking now, but he goes past the board and yep, just straight off the track. So
yeah, he wasn't going to pull that up, was he? So he did the safe option though, so he didn't collect anyone, and he was lucky to get out obviously of the sand trap, which isn't too hard to do when it's wet and it's all compact. But here we go with Rashidi, and also I'd like to just mention also thanks to the people that voted to our Thermo Oval Take of the week, and I'd like to say that it was a draw between JC versus Lupti, 44%, and Babby versus Common, I think it is. So they both got the spoils of the most votes for the thermal overtake of the week.
Yeah, congrats to both those guys for getting equal percentage, I guess. I was just kind of gasping in the background as Igor's kind of bumping into the walls in front of Taufik in that Porsche, which is not really what you want to be doing, as obviously it can put you offline quite easily. As now Nathan Monk's right on the back of that KA Motorsport Ferrari. He might look for a move into the chase, although it is very difficult to try actually get something done here, as you have to straighten up the car before you hit the brakes, and you just have to be generally a lot more conservative in these sort of conditions through that high speed sort of kink and into the braking zone, as obviously it's a lot easier. Your window is a lot more narrow for making errors, so you just got to keep it going straight, and Nathan Monks is just hoping right now that Sam's going to make a mistake, or he can get up alongside into the braking zone and just make the move fairly easily.
Yeah, so the track conditions look like it's moved from flooded to wet, so even though, you know, it's still tricky out there, it's probably that little bit easier for these drivers, but then also a little bit of fatigue. Mentally will be to start to get into these drivers as well with the slipping conditions, and you know, as you said, these little micro mistakes that drivers make obviously can lead to bigger incidents as well. So they're driving at edge and right at the edge of their seats, trying to get through this Thermaltake split red round 4 at Bathurst. And I'll have to put hats off to all the drivers actually from all the splits that have tried to conquer the mountain this week for round 4.
Definitely. Bathurst, obviously one of the trickiest tracks in the game or in real life, and to do it in this sort of condition is just a whole nother level entirely. And yeah, by that sort of 15-10 minute mark is, as Taufik's quite wide there, is definitely when you have to really just concentrate, because it's so easy to make mistakes right like around the corner from the finish line, so close to home. As Nathan Monk's now right on the back of that Ferrari, but it's going to be pretty tricky for him to follow close through Forest Elbow, as Forest Elbow's quite a sort of tricky corner to follow people through and get a good exit out. It's quite deceptive, as Nathan Monks does get a decent exit, but the thing is, in the wet as well, you can't really go for moves at the kink of the chase. So even if you have the overspeed, you can't really pull out and go side by side, because it just will end badly, like we saw last night with the Honda of Chris Taylor, just sliding off the road basically. But Nathan Monks, as I said that, Sam O'Brien just gets a bit of wheel spin on the exit, and Nathan Monks is just able to drive past, as Callum Rosser gets a drive through for causing a collision, which I believe is for the Goeb incident. So yeah, that drive through for a collision is also a pretty big penalty, so he's going to have to come in and serve that over the next few laps.
Yeah, you sort of mentioned that earlier when you did see it at first, Aidan, so yeah, it's taken its time, but unfortunately Ross has run up the order. He's going to come to an end. He'll probably drop down fairly low with that drive through here at Bathurst as well. It'll cost you quite a bit of time getting in and coming back out.
Yeah, as Taufik still trying to get past Zavaka here, just kind of not able to get past that Porsche. The Porsche has probably the best drive out of corners in these. So, oh my gosh, and have I cursed him again at the exact same spot? I think I have. So, sorry Igor, but for a second time this race, in the exact same corner, I've cursed him again. But as I was saying, the Porsche has very good drive out of corners, especially in these conditions, so it's quite difficult to pass. I was having that experience last night, trying to fight my way past Damiano Thircolini and then also John Hislop, who got past me a little bit later. But yeah, so Taufik has now been released from being behind these guys, as now the Porsche of Rochford is closing up to the back of Igor, and there's also the other Rosser car of the McLaren type just behind Scott Rochford, as well as Zach Jensen also gets a 15-second penalty. So I think this has quite easily been the most amount of penalties we've seen over this round, because I think last night there was only a handful, and Split Yellow only had 1 or 2, I believe. So Split red as usual, split blood, living up to their name, dishing out the penalties. So yeah, I mean, we all wanted entertainment, so here it is.
Yeah, no bars hold, but look at Sam O'Brien too, up in 9th position, and with those penalties in front of him, he's going to possibly get all the way up to 7th for a Pro-Am, and that's going to really help his championship charge as well in the Pro-Am division. So hopefully he can get through these next 30 minutes without too much of an incident and benefit from those 2 penalties in front. As we said, Ross is taking that drive-through penalty now as we speak. And Monks will have a 10-second penalty. I'm assuming after the race that will be added because there's no pit stops possibly in
correct.
this race.
Yep, that is correct.
So we should see as they go through the next sector that Rosser where he may pop out, and also see Sam up into position 8th, which he'd be very happy with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd be surprised. That's not much time he's lost from that drive-through if the timing table is correct. So it's pretty impressive. He comes out where he is. Pete Chalmers up to P6 as well in the Porsche. So the Porsche obviously doing quite well. As there we go. Okay, Rosser is now going way down the order, down to P13. As you see, Zach Warren and Breno Ellis a bit further down the order as well. The 2 kind of pros in a sea of Pro-Ams and Silvers at the moment. As Scotty Rochford still on the back of Igor. With that McLaren now getting closer every lap. The McLaren will be a bit of a threat down Conrod if the Porsches aren't careful, because it's definitely got some top end on it. As long as you can stay close to these guys, although the Porsches do have a pretty neat double toe, so they might be able to stay out of that McLaren's cross for now. But yeah, definitely watch out for the McLaren Rosser here.
How good are some of these camera angles that Ben's been able to provide us here? That's a classic shot looking at the back of the Porsche, going over McPhillamy, and just seeing, as you said, that the great white shark of Tafiq poking his nose through just on the side of the Porsche of Zaveka. I mean, it's Rochford, is it? I'm trying to think where we're at. So.
Yeah, we're looking at Rochford right now, and Zavaka's just in front.
A bit slidey, trying to get that power on out of the chase.
Yeah, definitely. And there is a Ford behind them, although I don't know who that Ford is because I don't think they are fighting for position. It looks like it could possibly be the Milwaukee Ford of Tim Goeb, but I'm not sure of his position because obviously after that first sort of incident he had, he did drop back quite a bit. Yeah, it is Tim Goeb, P26. But he's come out and he's decided to keep on slugging in the race. He hasn't given up, as we see Callum Rosser now side by side with Zach Jensen into Griffin's Bend. Not Zach Jensen, what am I talking about? Zach Warren, the other Zach. As Zach gives him a little tap on the inside, but I think that's play on, as Zach does have the inside, and as I said before, that corner's very heavily favoured towards whoever's on the inside, just because as soon as you start to get out wide, you just run into all that standing water and there's just absolutely no grip out there. So Zach Warren gets
get over a little hump too, don't you? Like at the mid corner and goes off camber then, so it sort of drags you towards the wall if you're on the outside, especially in these wet conditions. Oh, just as he leaves, and he's sideways as well. So yeah. Ross is actually on a wild ride over the top of the mountain.
So easy to do, just yeah. Because the track, the way you take the lines in the wet is so different to dry, especially going over the mountain, that it's so easy to just zone out for like half a second, and before you know it, you're taking the dry line and you're just way wide, and as soon as that happens, you just get sucked way out wide into that barrier, and yeah, then you're just in the wall and you start having big moments like that. So he's kept it together, but that has allowed Breno Willis to close in the gap behind him. As they head down Conrad Straight. Breno in the Audi, not quite the car of choice. Obviously Breno's been doing quite well this season in terms of overall results, but this one is definitely going to be a drop round for him if we do have them this season, as he manages to close up even more to the back of the Ferrari of Rosser. I'm not sure in terms of top speed and acceleration which of these cars is better, and also braking. I think they're fairly evenly matched, but the Audi obviously is significantly more difficult to drive, as it is quite old, a lot older. As Stefano Rasciuti is now caught up to the back of Carl Johnson. I'm not sure if Carl Johnson's going to give this one up too easily now, as we are getting towards the back end of the race. I mean, Rasciuti has gapped Patrick Johnson by about 3.6 seconds, so Rasciuti is not an immediate threat here of being attacked from behind, so he can spare a few laps to try get past Carl, and I think Carl's pace may be just starting to drop off here, and I mean the gap to Lucas Keys is 26 seconds, so I think if we could triple that penalty, or actually no, we need to quintuple that penalty, and it still wouldn't make a difference. So
yeah, I think everyone forgets where Lucas Keys at the moment. But I tell you what, you're talking that Rasciuti's got a little bit of time up his sleeves to try and overtake Carl Johnson, but I wouldn't be wanting to take too long, because I think we'll probably see the Bentley come up within the next few laps as well. Because here we go, we've got that neon McLaren going around where Ellis went around too, so just getting it all wrong on the outside of the curb.
yeah, if you're going to hit that curb, you need to make sure your wheel is straight. Otherwise, yeah, the rear just keeps coming around, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll see if Patrick can catch up to the back of these guys if they do take too long, like you were saying. But he does have some damage from him clattering the wall, which I think is probably not helping him too much. I was driving the Bentley with damage last night, and it wasn't particularly the greatest thing I've ever driven. So it's definitely going to be a bit difficult for him. But anything's possible when there's people battling ahead. Obviously, you do lose a significant amount of time when battling. And Stefano not really in the current position to attack, but he's just got to sit here and be patient, wait for a mistake from Carl Johnson. Obviously, with Adderton gone now, this is the battle for P2. So that's a pretty good position. I mean, if you don't count Lucas Keys, it's the win, because I don't really know if he's human here. I think he's just like a different breed of creature that's been bred specifically to be incredibly quick on ACC. So yeah, Lucas is just miles off in front. But these two definitely providing some entertainment for us, as Carl's definitely wide there on the grass. It's going to allow Rasciuti to close up, but can't really do anything through this super narrow technical section here. Running down the mountain. Rasciuti just has to try and stay as close as he possibly can to try get some of the draft down the straight, down the very long straight of Conrad. So he's gonna take a narrower line, which is gonna harm his exit a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Porsche gets a good drive out of Conrad, and now the Ferrari can stretch its legs a little bit, but he's still gonna have a bit of trouble closing that gap before they get to the braking zone.
Yeah, Carl was very close to the inside concrete barrier there going through Forrest's elbow. He was probably lucky he didn't clip the rear of his Porsche there, which would have opened up the door for Rasciuti to make a move. But I think this is what Stefano really needs to do. He needs to really add a lot of pressure down this part of the circuit and try and pressure Carl into a little mistake if he can, and get an easy overtake done. Because as you said, it is extremely difficult to make a pass in these slippery conditions, because you've also put your car in a pretty vulnerable position too, with a lack of grip around the circuit here. So going too wide or if through a corner can be quite difficult at the best of times, but definitely on a slick surface like this, this is where these drivers really shine. And as we speak, it looks like he's going to have a run out of the opening corner and going to get it done here at Griffin's Bend. So a nice move by Rasciuti. And now Carl Johnson is going to have to try and see if he can manage his gap which actually Patrick's actually dropped out a little bit from on that Bentley, so he was only 3 seconds or so behind, and last time on that timing monitor is about 5.4 seconds it says from position 3, so maybe he's fighting that Bentley a little bit as well, so Carl Johnson might just have enough to hold on to the final spot of the podium, and only time will tell with just less than 20 minutes remaining.
Yeah, definitely. I do remember the Bentley did get quite scary towards the end of the stint. I also had a bit of damage, so yeah, definitely not the easiest car to drive in these conditions, especially when you got damage. As you see Brad Gosling here in the BMW, it's going to keep rotating on him, and
He
he's
did hit the wall.
Yeah, he's kept it out the wall, but he's in a bit of a bad spot here as we don't see the rest of it, but he did have to do a multi-point turn, I think, to get out of that one.
Yeah, Austin Powers turn.
Yeah.
But, that's what can sometimes happen in that part of the circuit.
Don't worry, as we saw last night, the rain is decreasing in 30 minutes. Not like that's going to make a difference at all, because we don't have 30 minutes left of the race. But we see Sam O'Brien. Yeah, Sam O'Brien's still just trying to hold off Taufik going.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is a very important run here. If you can just hold on off Taufik, but the great white Ferrari of Taufik looks like he's going to have that pace to be able to probably make it easy position and make this move on, Sam. But great job by Sam so far. They Pro-Am up into the top 7 in these tricky conditions. He's still got just enough to leapfrog Monks. Monks with a 10-second penalty, and I think the last time I saw was just under 8 seconds behind. Let's have 8.4 seconds behind Monks, so he should be able to gain that position. But again, Monks in that Aston Martin, I believe he probably should be able to extend that margin and just concentrate holding on to that 6th spot if he can, by keeping a safe margin between O'Brien or Taufik, depending what happens here.
Yeah, definitely. I think Taufik maybe is going to try attack Sam to slow him down so Monks can get that 10-second gap. As we look at Igor still holding the P10, although with that 15-second penalty, he's going to drop at least 5 positions. As the field have closed up quite significantly behind him. Over the last few laps, the gaps have come back down again, as he's currently being not quite a cork in the bottle, but definitely leading his pack along of Rochford, Rosser, Warren and Ellis, I think, all kind of in this train as they head over the mountain here through Reed Park and coming into McPhillamy Park now. Scott Rochford ever just inching closer. He has been in this position quite a few times over the past few laps. We get a nice close sniff from Scotty Rochford as he heads down. That is wide from Igor through the dipper. He might pay the price for this as they come down to Conrod Straight now. There is a BMW in front of them who is blue flagged, I believe. But Scott Rochford right on the back of Igor here. He might have a chance if he can get full tow all the way down Conrod Straight. Obviously equal machinery here, 2 Porsches, so he's not going to have a significant advantage in any fields, but he's definitely closing the gap. Maybe you see a lunge here coming into the braking zone. No, I think he's going to hold stations, not do anything silly. Yes.
Talk about silly. What's behind
talking about
there?
silly, yeah. Zach Warren, I think that was a bit of a dive coming in.
Oh, who else was right there? There's someone else as well.
It was the BMW. I think that might have been Harry Smiles. Yeah, that's Harry Smiles' BMW. So I think Smiles went off in front. Warren went for a move, which, as we saw, we caught the end of. We'll have to get a replay, but didn't look like it quite stuck. And then obviously Brenner's just following right behind that. And who got knocked off? I don't remember. Was it? Oh, it was the McLaren of Rosser was the victim there.
So Rosser, yeah. But I'll tell you what, I think we haven't seen the OnlyFans livery of Ellis in that Audi. So I'm sure we're waiting to see that OnlyFans livery come up. But here we go down the inside, and unfortunately the McLaren was the innocent victim there. And you're right there, Smiles just making his way back onto the track after probably having his own experience
side by
earlier.
side, going up the mountain. Scott Rochford has just
too often.
mugged Igor coming up through the cuttings, so Igor must have had a bad run through there. And just Rochford's been able to get the traction down better and just kind of power out to the outside. Thurkalini did try to do that to me yesterday as Breno has a big slide, holds it though. It's very hard, as Damiano experienced yesterday, to hold traction going around the outside, especially up the hill. So well done to Scott Rochford for getting that move done, as now Warren and Breno are right on the back of the Porsche, as Warren's having a big slide coming out of the dipper as well. That scared me a little bit there.
I was going to say though, Aiden, if that overtake from Rochford is not on the Thermaltake overtake
100%.
voting next week, it was balls to the walls move, I tell you. So Scotty
Got to get a
Rochford,
replay.
credit to you, my friend, and make sure you timestamp that there, viewers, and if you're in the Discord for OOR, make sure that you put that down.
Warren's going to have a look here.
Overtake of the week.
That is...
here we go. Elbows out, overtake.
Carbon copy. I think, unfortunately, that's another carbon copy, and Warren is going to readdress the position. Came from quite far back there to make that move, so I think that one will be getting referred to the stewards, as well as Ross is caught in a bit of an awkward sort of moment here, as technically Goab is blue flagged, but also obviously blue flag cars can unlap themselves if they are faster, so we're going to get a replay here of the Rochford overtake on Igor. So Igor just running it a bit deep, not able to get the traction down, then they're able to go side by side through here, and Rochford just... I think Igor got up on that inside curb, and the second you hit the curbs in the wet, the traction control just has an absolute meltdown, and you just lose all drive. So still a good overtake anyway from Rochford.
You have to be game to get it around there in these slick conditions. In the dry, you probably wouldn't blink and just give it a go, but in the wet conditions, that could have ended up pretty nasty in the end. But well done to Rochford, sticking to his guns and just being confident that that was going to stick, which it did.
Yeah, definitely. So we saw Breno as well, I think, get through in that sort of it's between Warren and Zavaka as well. So he's almost back in the top 10 after his slight disaster on the first, I think it was the first lap of full racing we got, I think. But yeah, as we look back at Zach Warren, who has the Mustang of Tim Goer behind him, who's not obviously not fighting for position here, and the McLaren of Rosser behind is Warren's going to try and get the move done against Igor again. I hope not quite in the same fashion as has happened so far, as there's been quite a bit of door banging coming from that 222 car. Very committed with his moves, but maybe a little bit too much, and especially in these sort of wet conditions, you really need to make sure the move is going to happen nice and clean when you do it. As we get a look at Ahmed Judsman, who is in P9 with Taufik ahead of him, and Taufik still struggling to get by O'Brien, who has unfortunately now dropped out of that 10-second penalty range of Nathan Monks. But also Pete Chalmers in P5, very good effort from him. I think he started possibly outside of the top 10 or around there, so well driven by him so far to keep that Porsche nice and straight. I don't think he's been involved in anything. I think he's just been driving and just putting in the laps as you do in these sort of conditions.
So what do you think, Aidan, about this Thermo Overtake award? Would a lapped car unlapping himself be qualified for a Thermo Overtake award?
Oh, it depends how brave it is, I reckon.
Well, it's still an overtake, isn't it? It might not be for position, but it's overtake to get back on the, get his lap back. So, yeah, just thinking that we may see that from that Mustang.
Maybe. Tim Goem gets... Oh, no. Oh, you've just cursed him. I see a 72 car stopped at Griffin's... Oh, no, wait. Is that 72? I'm squinting real hard. Oh, no, sorry. It's 77. Okay. Well, you scared me for a second. Oh, that is not where you want to be stopped. Harry Smiles.
I sort of sunk in my chair then, Aidan. When you...
Oh. Yeah, I just saw a car with 7 stopped at Griffin's Bend, and I thought, oh, no. But, yeah, I reckon a car unlapping themselves could get the overtake as long as it's...
Well, be nominated.
Yeah, and we saw obviously Zach Warren getting that 10-second penalty for his. I'm not sure if that was the first or the second collision. I think it might be the first. As we see Harry Smiles here, just losing the BMW. BMW not really a car that seems to be very happy in these conditions. I know it's quite oversteery in the dry. So, oh my gosh, that is a Porsche going sideways as Jasmine gets by on Taufik. So, who was that Porsche? Because I think that's Pete Viney in that blue Porsche.
Yeah, he is in a Kovacs blue one, but there's another one that was beside him on the grid that was a darker blue as well, but it was not Kovacs. I can't remember who it was, but what have we got here on the replay?
This is Jasmine, I think.
Oh, that's ran wide. Oh, no, here it goes.
So Taufik, I think we'll have to get another angle of that. So something's happened with the Porsche, and Taufik's possibly hit into the back of him. Don't take my word because I couldn't see much there, but Taufik's possibly hit into the back of the Porsche, and that sent the Porsche flying off the track as we get the replay here. So we're coming through the chase, very high speed section. Porsche is quite slow. Oh, yeah, just tries to let... Yeah, go on.
I don't think Taufik, yeah, that was just an unfortunate circumstance there. I think Taufik, there was no malice in that or anything there. Just the way that blue flag car was positioned at that time, and wasn't expecting him to slow down on the run into the chase, that part of the track either. So unfortunately for Taufik, hopefully that he might escape some penalty there, but we're not too sure. But that's a tough one for the stewards.
Yeah, well, obviously the Porsche is trying to slow down to let him by, but you can't. Or is that Taufik stopped there as well?
Taufik.
Oh no! So
I'm pretty sure that's
maybe
his,
damage.
Ferrari.
Yeah, maybe some damage has made him have a bit of. Yeah, he's gone back to pit lane. So yeah, I think obviously just the Porsche's braking a bit there, and you can't brake kind of while turning in these sort of conditions. As we see Taufik. He's coming up the mountain here, gets wide, or just loses it on the entry to Silman Park, and that is a heavily damaged Ferrari. And obviously I think he might have steering damage, or at this point just decides it's not worth the hassle trying to continue driving. So very unlucky few laps there for Taufik, through really no fault of his own in the first collision.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes just that one little thing just, just snowballs, doesn't it? And, you're sort of on your mind and you're not yourself, and then all of a sudden just misjudge a corner. And this is the time that you said that 10 minutes left of the race is really hard on a driver in these conditions. There's been no let up of rain. And, we are starting to see some of these little mistakes creeping in. We saw 2 cars off the chase only a lap ago.
Or, as you say, mistake. Scott Rochford is wide on the exit, or gets a big snap of oversteer on that curb. Absolutely no grip on the curb. And that's going to allow Breno Ellis to just sail by down the straight. And as well, just quickly again with Taufik, is he also went into the side of Nathan Monks on the start, again through no fault of his own. So that's pretty much 3 times for Taufik where he's just been Lady Luck, as you said, has not been on his side at all tonight. So yeah, just for Taufik, as he is obviously a very good driver and knows what he's doing, but sometimes things don't go your way. As we're looking on board at, on Igor Zavaka's car, looking out the back at Zach Warren and Tim Goab behind. I don't think Goab is gonna be doing a move with 5 minutes left on Zach Warren, unless it's really just sitting there for him, because that's the last thing you want to do with 5 minutes to go, is try to get a rushed move done on a car that you're not even battling for position. and the stewards definitely won't like that. So yeah, probably just going to sit behind and watch this battle for position here between Zach Warren and Igor Zavaka, as Igor gets a little bit taily coming out of the dipper. Zach is going to get right up behind him, possibly looking for a move down Conrad Straight, which is definitely on the cards here, as he is right on the tail of that other Porsche. Again, Porsche on Porsche down the straight. We'll see if Warren's car has enough grunt to get close behind, as Igor moves out to the other side of the racetrack to try to deny that slipstream from Warren. And I think we might see Warren here go again for a late braking move into the braking part of the chase, as we see, yep, here he comes down the inside. Oh, he's had to take quite a narrow line there, and as well we see the McLaren going off now. I don't know if he went super narrow there because he was squeezed or he went in too hot. I think we'll have to get a replay of that.
Too hot there, Rosso. I think, well, Rosso went in too hot.
Yep.
I think it was following what was happening in front, but here's a replay though of the Bentley. So
here's the
Bentley
Bentley.
Third position, currently in fourth, and that war almost. He was lucky to get away with that one.
Yep, I also did that a few times last night, but I'd love to see a replay there of Zach Warren and see if that was too late on the brakes, just like Rossa, and not able to pull it up in time and just having to take avoiding action in the way of not causing any contact.
There's a replay.
Yep.
Should probably show you.
So Warren very close to the chase, although you can't be too close here, and obviously he's going to pull out and look for a move. He is quite far behind. Well, I think the rears started to go fairly early in that, so yeah, I don't think there'll be a penalty for that one, because there was kind of no harm except for himself there. But unfortunately for Zach Warren, that is, again, he's kind of failed to get past Igor, which must be getting a little bit frustrating at this point, as we see. Here we are on board with Warren, going to try look to the outside, or what turns into the inside. Oh yeah, so I think he's noticed the rears start to lock up, and he's just yanked it sideways to stay out of the way of Igor, and Igor's just going to keep driving on, as that is very wide from a blue flag car in front of Kyle Johnson, who's currently sitting in third place. Very good effort from Kyle, and Patrick Johnson has fallen quite significantly off the back of Kyle, really struggling towards the end of this race, just like I was last night. And Pete Chalmers is actually within a second of Patrick now. So if we could flick the camera to that battle.
And then Monk's not too far away either, but I tell Igor, they have to give it to Igor before we get back into this little battle for the last probably 2 laps. But Igor, you have to give it to him, other than that 15-second from that little contact he made. I think, who did he hit that we were talking about earlier?
I don't think we saw it.
He's actually done a very good job, I think, Igor. Be able to, everyone's been trying to overtake him, so he's positioned his car well. And everyone's been attempting to overtake him, but just finding it a little bit too difficult. So, well driven by Igor.
Yep, definitely. And Patrick Johnson going to try hold off the cars behind, as I do believe we will have one more lap after this, as Lucas Keys is miles ahead of the field. He's coming through the chase right now, while P2 is still not even at Forest Elbow. So he's going to be crossing the line as second place is going through Forest Elbow, which is pretty insane to think that is the gap so far. But we're riding on board now with Pete Chalmers, who has the Aston Martin of Nathan Monks close behind for company, trying to hunt down the Bentley of Patrick Johnson.
Yeah, Nathan really needs to play smart here though. He's got the 10-second penalty. He's 15 seconds in front of 7, so he's going to hold on to 6 here. Making a position, making an overtake here, he's not going to do anything other than possibly contact him further penalties. So if I was Nathan, I'd probably be just happy just to hold behind Chalmers.
Oh no, that's Sam O'Brien. Sam O'Brien's been turned by
no.
Jusman. Hopefully O'Brien can get it moving before the rest. Oh no, he's going to have to sit here and wait for this. Oh, get it moving. Oh, that is a Porsche. That is Scott Rochford, I believe. So, unfortunately for Sam O'Brien, having driven this whole race pretty much perfectly and holding his position, the McLaren has unfortunately made contact into Forest Elbow and turned him round, which is going to be super frustrating for Sam, having got
Also
this far.
probably frustrating for Marshy as well. Marshy's been supporting
definitely
all along the way here, and just to see this has probably just put a tear in his eyes. Oh no!
Yep, so easy to do.
So
easy. Yep, and into Forest Elbow as well. It's so easy to lock the brakes, especially in these conditions, and just tap into the back of someone. So Pete Viney's got a 10-second penalty for dangerous driving. That'll be the braking in front of Taufik, I believe, what that one's for. But yeah, so unlucky for Sam O'Brien, and it is very easy to do that at Forest Elbow. I have to admit, I've done that a few times. Just being close behind someone and you hit the brake pedal and the wheels just lock and you just go straight on. But unfortunately, I reckon that's going to be an invoice for Jasmine, who's going to be demoted a few positions, and obviously that's really allowed Nathan Monks to have some breathing room here. He doesn't really have to do anything from now on. And obviously,
and the
as well,
just coming around the final corner as well of the race to take out round 4.
There's Lucas doing some drifting. Yep.
He's got all the time in the world to do whatever. He could actually sit there and do a couple of donuts before he takes the checker.
Oh,
if he
definitely.
Wanted to, but well done to him. And
there's Jasmine's penalty.
Getting that penalty for Sam, unfortunately. Just that touch just through here at Forest Elbow. But will we see Monks try and get a run down here? But we're looking at Stefano. Good drive by Stefano. And that's going to put him second in this championship. So he's going to come away very happy man.
I think Monks is going to take this one easy. I don't think it'll be worth going for the move here unless he's going to look for it. He's going to look for the dive into the chase. Chalmers is going to let it happen as he knows the 10-second penalty really just...
Is he?
I think so. As he knows the 10-second penalty really sort of nullifies that overtake. As unfortunately Sam O'Brien also receiving a 10-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin. I think that's why we saw that purple Porsche going very wide at Forest Elbow, having to avoid Sam's car there. But we're looking at Igor, who is still trying to hold off Zach Warren on the final lap. It seems like half the race he's been trying to hold off Zach Warren. But Igor's putting on some pretty big drifts. Zach Warren's a bit too far back to get this move done, I reckon, unless he goes for a Daniel Ricciardo into the final corner. But considering he already has a penalty, I highly doubt that's going to happen. As we watch the cars behind, that's Pete Viney and Rosser coming through. Rosser P13 and Viney a bit further down in P21.
Yeah, I reckon Zavacco and Warren actually would have had a really good race here tonight for round 4 because, as you said, they weren't separated that much throughout the whole race, and Warren just kept trying to overtake and just could not do it. But he will get it based on penalties, so he should get that position 11 with results pending here. But as the rest of the field come over to finish the Thermaltake round 4 here at Bathurst. And what a wet race that has been. So congratulations to Lucas Keys and Rashuti and Carl Johnson for the top 3. As we should get the results very shortly. But look at that, the rain did not let out the whole race. Aiden?
Yep. Yeah, definitely didn't let up. And I've seen Marshy in the YouTube chat saying he's just flipped the table. So Marshy not too happy with his boy being taken out so close to home. Sorry, Marshy, about that, but yeah, not much we can do about it from here. Anyway, yeah, that concludes Split Red, or at least the racing side of it for tonight. We will have a look at the results, as you said, with those penalties in, as they will make quite a difference. Yeah, as they, obviously, there might be some provisional stuff as well. Lucas Keys taking home the win by 37 seconds. Success ballast, anyone? I think so. Stefano Rashuti coming in at 2nd place, followed by Carl Johnson, Patrick Johnson, Pete Chalmers, Nathan Monks, Breno Ellis. Well done to Breno for getting back to P7 after being
Great comeback
all the way down the bottom of the Yeah, all the way down the bottom of the field. Just shows how much, although he did have quite a few moments and stuff, just shows how much just getting some clean laps in for a while can make you back up some time. Obviously, Rushford behind him, Jusman behind him as well, and Russell with Jusman and Monks having penalties, although I don't think it actually... These are the final positions, I reckon. So we head on to silver. Obviously, Carl Johnson on the podium. Pete Chalmers as well, not too far from the podium too. And Safiq in third place in silver. Heading on to Pro-Am, we have Scott Rochford. Good win for him. Provided us with some pretty entertaining battles with Igor and Jusman second place, Rosser third. So we look at Am, obviously the other Rosser, the 18 Ferrari taking out the Am win, and Nirasan second place in Am. So that concludes the racing and results tonight. The thermal overtake of the day, definitely possibly for Scotty Rushford. Who would be your driver of the day to say for tonight, Neil?
Look, I thought, who was it finished third again, sorry?
My mind is completely blanked. It was Lucas, and then
I'll say Sam O'Brien for David Marsh.
Carl
How about
Johnson.
that? Let's go Sam
Okay.
O'Brien for Marshy, because he did drive faultlessly until the very last part of the race, where it was no fault of his own getting tagged, and then unfortunately trying to rejoin, got that 10-second penalty. So I'll say that we'll give it to Sammy O'Brien.
Yeah, my driver of the day would definitely have to go to either Carl Johnson or Breno Ellis. Obviously, Carl Johnson driving pretty faultless race tonight. Just getting into that third position. Oh, he was originally in second. Stefano did get him, but just driving it very consistently and safely. And obviously, Breno from being stone dead last to coming back into the top 10. So obviously, that is the end of our Bathurst round, round 4. I believe next it is either Monza or Hungaroring. Yep, it's Hungaroring. Round 5 of the Thermaltake Sprint Series. We hope to see you there, and from us in the box and to everyone in chat and watching along at home, good night.